I did get another one at the church trunk or treat. One of the guys walked up to me and said, because I didn't have a costume on, obviously, he goes, you could go as Ron DeSantis. You look just like him.
Well, this could be a whole cottage industry for you. I mean,
know if he
can becomes president,
right? He becomes the big one. Might be able to get some appearance money, like Kevin Kline.
Exactly.
It's a great movie.
It's better now than it was then. So Lee went 4-0-1.
Right.
Got his game of the week right and got his game of the year right.
Correct.
Maddie went 4-1.
Right.
She's 8-7 in 3 weeks. And I went 3-4, which is my third best week of the year. Of course, you said I bet too many games. Mark, who knows? If I'd stuck with 5, I might have gone 1-4. We have no idea what the 2 extra games were.
It's true. I'm just going by the order that you did them, and you would have still played Vegas. I know that. Because you and I were certain Vegas was going to win that game.
Yeah, I would have played Vegas or Jacksonville. So I would have been 2-3. Of the 4 NFL games, if I only played 2, I was definitely playing the Titans. And by the way, Saturday afternoon, when I see Tannehill's not going to play, I go, after I went 1-2 on Friday, Saturday, I went, oh, come on.
Well, when Notre Dame just starts scoring with a reckless abandon as I'm watching the game, I am giggling. I'm going, you're joking, right? These two teams haven't been able to muster up an offense all year. Damn right, Peeville. He's a flippin' hero. Yes, what? David just disappeared.
Oh. We got 30 seconds. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Happy Halloween, happy Monday morning. It's something I don't often do, and asking the question, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton on a Halloween Monday morning. David is in Cleveland, having a little technical difficulties to get us going. I am back in the studios in the 239. Welcome to the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton on a Halloween morning, which after a wild sports weekend that had a lot going on, some interesting football, an unbelievable NASCAR race, the World Series is underway, and we'll start getting ready for a massive college football weekend with Gary Danielson joining the show in an hour and a half. Hope you had a good weekend. Felipe, happy Halloween to you, and you are dressed up for the occasion. What brought this on this morning?
Oh, I mean, it's the one time of the year where this is acceptable. I am a pickle, but not just any pickle. I am a pickle holding a pickleball and a pickleball paddle, which makes me pickleball.
So you are pickleball this morning. I don't do costumes, so that's going to be the way that it is. But David does have costume with him, but is not in costume for the show this morning. Good morning, David. A little technical difficulties to start off Halloween week. You scared the hell out of me already, David.
Well, that's a great Halloween costume, isn't it? 5:58. I made myself disappear.
He's a ghost.
How was your weekend, David?
It was good. It really was. My mom came to town. She took the train and she arrived in Jacksonville right as our show was ending on Friday. So I got a chance to spend a couple days with my mom, who came to town to see her granddaughter and her great-granddaughter, whom she's only seen twice. And she's spending 4+ days, and she is fired up like a little kid, right? And she is staying in town today for Halloween. The family is going trick-or-treating, and apparently Monsters, Inc. is the theme. I am Sully. And so, yes, if you're wondering, I have my costume with me in Cleveland, and as of now have been given permission to wear it in the booth. And I may have to, quite frankly, because it got 10 degrees colder than it was supposed to be, and I didn't necessarily pack for it. So I may need Sully just to stay warm.
Well, David, I have to say, this has not been, it was an interesting football weekend, pretty good Saturday, some good games on Sunday, some wild finishes with bad teams. But I don't know, by the time, and we've talked about this before, by the time Monday comes, sometimes we're footballed out. And you donning the Sully costume is about the only thing that can get me to watch Cleveland and Cincinnati.
So selling playoff positioning isn't going to do it, huh?
This is the most interesting NFL season that I can remember in quite a while, because there are a lot of bad football teams. There's some bad football. There are mistakes galore, and yet we're all still fascinated by it.
Well, it goes to show just how boring our lives are. I mean, if we had something else, we might move on, because I know what you're saying. A lot of the product is and a lot of the standings are I mean, a buddy of ours is a big Bills fan. And so at halftime and into the third quarter last night, I landed in Cleveland right around the time the game was starting, and I'm at the hotel by second quarter. And he, of course, is on top of the world, because this could be the best team of his lifetime.
It's not. I don't think it's a could be. I think it is.
I mean, and that even includes the teams of the early 90s. I mean, honestly, this team could be better. We'll see. But right now, Buffalo seems to be, if not head and shoulders, even right now, undefeated Eagles, Bills. Who would you take?
Well, I'd take the Bills, and I think Vegas would have them as a minimum of a 5-6 point favorite in that game.
So he is saying, all right, make the case. Why shouldn't I be cannonballing off the deep end here and just thinking that this is going to be our year? We're going to win. Who's going to beat us? And I text him and I go, well, I mean, there might be a team that plays about 90 snaps on defense and only 40 on offense and finds a way to beat you by, a field goal. And he goes, come on, that's not going to happen in Buffalo. And I go, no, Miami's not going to go to Buffalo and win. Certainly not. Right. And that was the thing in which I said, listen, come on now. I mean, you really want to get in another shootout with number 15? I mean, and he goes, okay, fine. I'll give you the Chiefs. Who else? And, we start narrowing the list in which you think of teams that are even capable. Like last year, Mark, when San Francisco went to Green Bay in the divisional round, Did most all of us think that Green Bay was going to win? Yes. But did also most all of us say, that's actually a team that matches up? That's the style of team that you'd want to go in there, slow them down, get them in a phone booth, win a field goal game. That's the team. And sure enough, it happened. And there doesn't just seem to be as many quote unquote contenders this year.
Well, that's the problem, is that this NFL season looks and appears, and things could change, because I think San Francisco's got a good football team and they're going to continue to get better. I'm interested to see what the Bengals have tonight, David, because I think they could get better. But the fact of the matter is that this NFL season looks very collegiate in the standpoint that you've got a couple of teams up there and everybody else. And nobody thinks everybody else can compete with what's at the top right now.
Remember, last year in the NFC, the top 4 seeds all won 12 or more games. So we, thought, hey, there's some real meat on the bone here. And Arizona was the 5 seed, and they won 11. And the team that ended up 6 minutes from representing the NFC in the Super Bowl, they won 10 games. But they also won 7 of the last 9, entering the playoffs. So, and this year, right now, anyway, we're approaching the midway point. I mean, Mark, we're not even to the point where Ross Chastain is going to floor it on the last lap. I mean, that's really he's radioing his crew right now, saying, where are we? That's where we are in this NFL season.
Undamn believable. I know no one's ever seen it because it's never been done. I've never been that giddy about NASCAR. I was 4 wide in the house and put the race on one of the TVs with 3 football games. And all of a sudden, as the race is down to the last 20 laps and you see that Ross is not in the playoffs, and obviously he's from Elba, Florida. He's from our backyard. We've been following this guy's career throughout and have been all in this year. And he's now going to miss the playoff. I mean, it's obvious that it's done.
Right. And you're bummed.
I was genuinely bummed, and now I've turned the race on just to see, because after the last pit stop, all of a sudden he's at 10th. Hamlin dropped a couple of spots, and you're like, they're only a point or 2 away. Can he pass enough cars? And it didn't seem possible. And it wasn't possible.
Right.
Until Ross Chastain played video games at Martinsville.
Right. With his own car. Right.
As he said, he threw it up in 5th gear and floored it and let it go, and drove along the wall through turns 3 and 4 with the fastest lap in the history of that racetrack.
Gained 5 spots, ended up passing Denny Hamlin, the guy he was chasing, to make the final playoff spot. And there you have it. Bada bing, bada boom. He's a legend.
He's a NASCAR superhero.
If his career ended today, he would be remembered by generations of NASCAR fans. He could do show signings for the next 20 years off of those final 2 turns at Martinsville. Mark, if that was submitted by a would-be writer, hey, this is how I think we should end this movie, and that was submitted, the writer would be fired and would be told, this is not realistic. The audience will not buy it.
Ross Chastain went video game on us and said so after the race.
Yeah, me and my brother used to play, NASCAR 2005. It used to work there. I thought, what the heck? Let's try it.
I would have just loved to have heard the conversation when he tells the crew chief, I've got an idea.
Listen, if you're the crew chief and you're out with a lap to go, sure, what the heck? I mean, no chance it's going to work. This is ridiculous. I can barely visualize this. What? You're going to what? What the heck? Do whatever you want. We'll put the car back together.
Unbelievable.
And so he's in. 4 guys with a chance at Phoenix next week to win the NASCAR title. and Ross Chastain, the pride of Alva, Florida, representing watermelon farmers throughout the state. He's in, baby. Would be ironic if he wins Phoenix because he's had so many top 5 finishes. He won those 2 races early this year, hasn't won since. Everybody else seemingly is winning races. All right. And he's finishing between 2nd and 5th damn near every week. Can't get a win. Be ironic if he gets his 3rd ever win at Phoenix.
But and the people who have retweeted this and the juice that this has gotten on an NFL Sunday is pretty remarkable.
Listen, first off, I knew something amazing had happened. You text me about it. I'm like, he sending me a NASCAR text at 6:00 on a Sunday? That's when I got it. You had sent it earlier, obviously. And then, listen, when NASCAR on Fox retweeted it, and they haven't covered a race in 4 months, they basically, by July 4th, they're done. They're not even paying attention anymore. They retweeted it. And we're like, this is the most amazing thing we've ever seen.
Absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen the video yet, I recommend that you do so, even if you don't like auto racing.
Right. It's so surreal, you're not going to think it's real. I mean, the first time you see it, you're like, wait, what the heck is this? Did they like speed up the video? Like, is this like out of a cartoon?
It was like out of a slingshot. And Ross Chastain worked the wall through turns 3 and 4 and gets himself into the playoff. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So, do you think that will be something that drivers will try to like emulate now?
Yes.
100%. He just changed the game.
They said as much after the race.
I mean, how has no one ever thought of that?
I'm sure they've thought of it.
They just didn't have the cojones.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they thought of it and thought, but this only works in a video game. This is batshit crazy. Because you can't test it out because you wreck a car.
Exactly.
No, seriously, your team would be like, what the hell did you just do?
Oh, my gosh. That was incredible.
Never mind the track you're doing it at is going to be like, what the hell?
And it was a short track too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that because I watched a fan angle from it, and then everyone, of course, just went ape shit after that.
The fan angle might be the best one because he was filming Ross. He was a Ross fan. And he got it a little earlier. That's what I was thinking, Johnny. But I don't know how you can.
Johnny, I don't think they'll ban the practice. They said afterwards there's nothing illegal that he did. Let me tell you something, Klecko. I think that call on that 15-yard penalty on taking the helmet off is absolute bullshit. I actually don't think where he took the helmet off was illegal. It was not on the field. And not only that, Terry McLaurin and Washington did the same thing after completing a long pass in the final 40 seconds of their game, and the officials didn't throw the flag. Well, and the other thing, the guy he kicks out of the championship is Hamlin.
Right. Hamlin looked like someone shot it. They're showing the video. They're interviewing the winner. Then they go to Ross, and they're showing Hamlin when they're interviewing Ross. And Hamlin looks like someone shot his dog.
Sure.
Then, of course, and that's the beauty of NASCAR. Who's the next interview with? Hamlin.
Any other major sport, the guys would have said no. It is the one thing we've always loved about NASCAR.
You guys see that throw by PJ Walker to DJ?
Yes.
Oh,
wow.
Goodness.
Even Mahomes.
Yeah.
Out. Throw of the year.
Yeah. I was going to make that the clutch play, but I decided to do something else. But man, that was a freaking dime. Good sports weekend.
That's funny, Johnny.
I'm sure you guys will talk about it, but how did Oklahoma State not score a single point? How did that happen? How is that possible?
Something. It's in college football, it is really tough to be shut out.
Well, especially when they're scoring 50 a game.
Right.
I've never seen anything like that before. A number 9 ranked team in the country get beat that bad.
Yeah, Adam, I think Carolina is looking for a kicker today. It wasn't the extra point. It was the field goal in overtime.
Yes. You got to pick, and you had a bunny.
Coming back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Gary Danielson will join us in a little more than an hour here on Miller and Moulton, basking in the glow of a very exciting, eventful sports weekend. Going all the way back really to Friday night, the World Series got off to a great start. Yes, they're still playing. It's the World Series. It's baseball. Insert all your damn jokes that you want. Yes, they'll be playing into November, Seth. Don't know what to tell you. Even Seth tweeted out, man, first couple games of the World Series have been really good. They can play a few more like this, ... So, I mean, think about that, Mark. NASCAR and the World Series all carving out a little space in the last 72 hours. That's how good some things were. Like tonight, Cleveland, Cincinnati, game 3 of the World Series. It could be our poll question. What are you going to watch? Where are you going to go?
What are you more interested in? Game 3 of the World Series or Cleveland and Cincinnati?
Hello. Now, I think they're going to go through with it. I'm pretty sure one guy is. But Joe and Troy are going to get dressed up a little bit for Halloween.
Boy, ESPN has changed these two. They're just zany nuts now.
No, it's these two that I think are changing ESPN. No, these two are convincing ESPN, lighten up a little bit. It's just a game. It's okay. You know, this isn't world peace here. Not solving, fixing one of the cancer problems here. We're just doing a football game. Let's just relax. Treat it like a football game. That's all.
So costumes will be aplenty tonight, is what you're telling me?
Yes, it won't be. Well, one of the two may be going as all in as he can go, is my understanding. I think the other one's just going to go halfway. So there you go. I don't know how many booth shots we'll get. I mean, obviously at the start of the game and at the top of the third quarter, I mean, we'll put them on. Usually they're on, and then also at the start of every quarter. I don't know if you've noticed that. They like to go to the announcers at the start of every quarter, as if somehow in the 40 minutes since you last saw them, they went away.
Hey, you got to be seen. That's part of the game.
Yeah, you spend, big money on the announcers. I guess let's put them on camera. Besides, the one guy's pretty good looking, Throw him on there.
Well, the Dolphins got it done.
Whew.
Yeah.
Whew.
But Detroit's found their offense, got out to a great start, had a lead on Miami, and Miami dominated the second half, shut the Lions down in the second half after allowing 27 points in the first half. A win is a win on the road.
Mark, I'm sorry, and we don't normally do this, and if I take you down a road in which you're uncomfortable, please feel free to put your co-host in line. But I'm sorry, where are all the Tua haters? No. Miller and Moulton took 2 years of crap, 2 years of crap, and kept saying, I don't know what to tell you. I think he can play. You guys are idiots. Tua sucks. Oh, man, if I had a dime for every time somebody told us Tua sucks. Yeah, he doesn't suck, okay? In fact, he's pretty good. In fact, he's your quarterback going forward. Can we end all this crap? You guys were wrong, okay? Say it after me. I was wrong.
And it's okay.
It is. It's not that big a deal. We're not even going to fine you. Yeah, this is a kangaroo court, and we're going to put you off on the side. We're going to crack some jokes at your expense. You're going to have to take it, but you gave us 2 years worth of grief. So you're going to have to take it a little bit.
5-0 this year as a starter.
Mark, he's lost like one start in the last 2 years.
Right,
in which
13 and 1, something like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He sucks. Man, we need to get a quarterback. Yeah, okay. All right. Can we end that? You know what we need? We need to get half our defense healthy. If you're a Dolph fan, that's what you need to say. Can we just get our defense healthy? I mean, I don't think we can beat Buffalo in January, but I got to admit, if our defense can get healthy, I'll take my chances with anybody else. I really will.
Because this just in, they're pretty tough to cover.
The two receivers have more yards 8 games into a season than any two receivers have ever had in the history of the league, ever. Now, I know they throw the ball more and there are more yards, and yeah, we get all that. But I'm just saying, pick all your great wide receiver duos and put a great quarterback with them, say. No quarterback, and remember, he hasn't played pretty much 3 of the 8 games. So that's all. That's all we're saying. I know they gave up a lot for Tyreek Hill. What do you think of that trade?
Well, and they showed at the end of the game. What do? They need one more first down to win. They actually threw the ball. Who did they throw it to? Tyreek Hill. Why? Because he's open on every damn play.
Because you can't run with him, which means you can't cover him. It's as simple as that. Don't you think? Remember the story Gary told about the D coordinator up on the board and what have you, and he's doing this, and finally one of the cornerbacks raised his hand and said, "Coach, you do know that X is Jerry Rice. I don't think this is going to work." Okay. Don't you think that with Tyreek Hill, there's some defensive meetings in which the secondary coach is going, "We're going to do this, and we're going to press," and what have you. Somebody at this point goes, I don't think I can run with Tyreek Hill. That's Tyreek Hill, right, Coach? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I'll give it my best shot, but I don't know.
When they're showing track highlights during the game of 3 Miami players, you have to wonder what it's like to cover them.
Right. Wait, I'm not going to have safety help? What? Whose idea is this?
But you're right. The defense needs to get better. But I thought that after having a terrible first half, they were good in the second half, which usually doesn't happen in the NFL.
Although I have to admit, if you take a look closely, this Dan Campbell thing, and forget the fact they're 1-6. There are certain things you're looking at, like Lions in the second half. Lately, they literally have not scored in the second half. That's so the other team's making coaching adjustments, and you're unable to respond. This is not a good look. What's going on in Detroit, and I don't just mean 1-6. Because Jacksonville's 2-6. And most of us are like, oh, man, they're so close. You can see it. Even though I've differed with a couple of things that Doug Peterson's done, right now I think Trevor Lawrence is holding the Jags back more than Doug Peterson. I don't know if that's the case in Detroit. And goodness knows I'm not a Jared Goff guy. Goodness knows.
Jared Goff, second half Jared Goff has been awful.
Well, he ain't helping second half Dan Campbell much then.
No, he's not. The only thing he's helping Dan Campbell with is he's assuring them they're going to be able to get one of the good quarterbacks in the draft right now.
That is true. That is true. I think they have picks 1-13 right now to the Lions. So that bodes well.
Starting 5 coming up on the other side. Gary Danielson will join us in a little more than an hour after what was a good college football weekend. It's gearing up for a great one coming up this Saturday.
Well, I think he likes the game he's going to be at. I think he's happy. I don't know about the other networks, but, I think CBS is happy with the game they have.
1 versus 2 now that the new polls have come out and Tennessee's tied for the second spot.
We've done a few of them, but not many.
Usually they involve the team that's in the late game that day, LSU and Alabama. This time it's Georgia and Tennessee. Miller and Moulton, the starting 5, is next on the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Paul, it's just the rule that college football's always had. 1 foot needed to be in bounds, your knees down, you're down. Bat and the hash marks, those 3 things are the big difference between pro and college.
I only noticed like maybe 3 years ago that the hash marks in the middle of the field were wider in college football than the NFL.
And it makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
It's difficult to explain, but it makes a big difference in terms of how effective offenses would be. You actually need to have a stronger arm in college than you do the NFL because of the hashes. It's funny. You have to be tougher in a sense in college because they can hit the college quarterback far more and far harder than they can in the NFL. And you actually have to have a stronger arm in college.
College football is a beautiful thing.
Does anybody believe the Vikings are a good football team?
Yeah.
Really?
They're 6
I know what they are.
I mean, their roster is not bad. They have some ball players.
It's funny, but I know what you're saying. They're 6-1, and when you watch them play, you think this team's capable of losing 4 of their next 5.
They keep winning,
right? Listen, I watched the whole second half of the Giants game on the plane yesterday, and I'm like, this is not a good team. Can they win 2 more? I think 8 will get them in. Can they win 2 more? One of them will probably have to be against Washington, and if it is...
Who's the last Super Bowl champ to not make the playoffs?
Defending Super Bowl champ?
Well,
is it not the Broncos? I think it's the Broncos in 2017.
16.
Because
it won it in 2015 season was when they won.
Right.
Yeah, because then it went Patriots, it went Eagles, it went Patriots. 2019 was Kansas City. 2020 was Tampa. So, yeah, it'd be Denver.
I think they went like 6-10 the year after they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no Peyton.
Yep. Even though Peyton wasn't much in that last season. But, no Peyton. So with that win over LA, because the Seahawks won yesterday, so the Seahawks still lead the
Right.
NFC West.
This morning, San Francisco's the 7.
Gotcha.
They win the tiebreaker with Washington.
God,
Yes.
I want Carolina to win that, so they were all 3 and 5.
I know. Hey, Art, you could say the same thing about the Eagles, man. I mean, the Eagles had the win over the Vikings, but, and they got Dallas with the backup quarterback.
Yep, teacher Tim, that's what they do. They break hearts. I said that stat again, that they have the 5th best winning percentage and they don't have a Super Bowl, and to someone the other day, and it blew their mind. Come back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our poll question, the Clutch Vodka play of the day, all coming up. Gary Danielson about an hour from now. Look back on the cocktail party. Look ahead to Georgia, Tennessee. Technically 1 versus 2 in the AP poll because Tennessee and Ohio State in a tie for second. No bronze medal, Mark, in the AP poll. We're giving out 2 silvers this week. No bronze. Gold and 2 silvers. They got to stand on the podium together. It's a little awkward, the whole SEC Big Ten thing. One of the guys puts "the" in front of their name. It's could be a little awkward there up on the podium.
That's all right. We'll settle this all out. Everybody's all fired up about polls, and the first college football playoff poll is going to come out. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It just doesn't matter.
No, it's like talking about the Heisman before Thanksgiving. It's a complete waste of time. It really will play itself out. When's the last time the conference championship games were over and we were really debating who the 4 teams should be the next day when they announce? 2014 is when. It's when you had the 2 Big 12 teams in Ohio State that were 4, 5, and 6. The committee moved Ohio State up from 6 to 4, even though the 2 Big 12 teams had won their final games of the year by about 100 points, literally. And the committee was mocked, and this is ridiculous. And the team they moved into the playoff won the national championship, and nobody's been able to yell anything since. Who knows? That could happen again. Right now, it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Hey, they went on the road and they won. And they faced some adversity and they still won. And for good measure, they covered. Talking about the Dolphins. 3.5-point favorites in Detroit, trailing 14-0 in the first quarter, 21-7 in the second quarter, 27-17 at the half. So he pitched a shutout in the second half. A couple third-quarter touchdowns from Tua. This just in, he's pretty good, and most all of you were wrong. 29 of 36, 382 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's playing from behind with a suspect offensive line and no running game on the road. Although it's Detroit, so probably shouldn't sell that aspect of it too hard. 31-27 Miami. They're 5-3. Playoff started today. They'd be in. If the draft were today, the Lions would be on the clock. They're 1-6.
They're familiar with that position, David.
They really are. But, hey, C.J. Stroud, okay, Bryce Young, welcome to Detroit. The Eagles are still undefeated. They beat the Steelers 35-13. They were both the 7 seed in the playoffs last year. And
Yes,
now one of them's undefeated and the other's 2-6. Jalen Hurts had 4 touchdowns, 3 of them to A.J. Brown.
2 of them looked identical to one another. Looked like they were showing a replay from touchdown 3 to touchdown 2 to touchdown 3. Almost the same damn play.
I had to laugh. Now, you know I love me some diva wide receivers. But when A.J. Brown beat the double team for the second time for the touchdown, and he gets up off the ground, and the corner and the safety are both lying on the ground, and he looks, and he points at the one, and he points at the other, and then he points at the one and points at the other and shakes his head like, I can do this all day. All day.
Yeah, I know that's taunting, but I actually think it should have been allowed in that case, David.
I celebrated. I got to be honest with you. I mean, you beat a double team for a touchdown again. And by the way, one half of that double team, maybe the best safety in the league in Minka. 35-13 Eagles. They're 7-0. Hey, Jacksonville lost another close one. Blew a late lead again. You're not going to believe it. It's 5 losses in a row for the Jags. They lost to Russell Wilson and the Broncos over in their home away from home in London. 21-17. Denver's 3-5. The Jags are now 2-6. Remember when they went out west and beat the Chargers and they were 2-1?
Right.
They jumped out to a 14-0 first quarter lead on the Eagles week 4. Remember that? They had the lead with 4 minutes to go. You know, I thought a month ago this defense was really good, right? We were talking about the defense is back and, you know, good, closest thing since the 2017 Jags defense. Yeah, they had a fourth quarter lead against the Giants. Giants went right down the field against them and scored. And this just in, the Giants have a running back, and that's it. That's all they got. All right. Now they let Denver hasn't gone down the field and scored on anybody all year. They did it quickly. And Indianapolis, Matt Ryan, hell, he's basically been kicked out of the league. But 3 weeks ago, he took a team right down the field on you and scored. Trevor's not helping. 2 interceptions and just 133 yards passing. Yeah, he's got 5 wins so far in his pro career. Just saying. Atlanta beat Carolina 37-34 in overtime. The second craziest finish of the day. Ross Chastain's the just bat blank craziest. But this is pretty close. It is. So P.J. Walker throws a 62-yard touchdown with yes, you heard me correctly, 60. And it was not a Hail Mary. No, it was a wide receiver who beat a double team by a step. That's it. And P.J. Walker hit him in stride 70 yards downfield. In the air, 70 yards. The longest throw since they've been keeping track of longest throws. Patrick Mahomes tweeted out, throw of the year. No doubt about it. Touchdown, ties the game. The wide receiver in celebrating, running off the field, takes his helmet off. Official throws the flag 15 yards. They move the extra point back. It's now a 48-yarder. Guy misses it. Then he misses a chip shot in overtime. Atlanta wins 37-34. They're 4-4. They're in first in the NFC South. That's right. The South goes through Atlanta.
You didn't even laugh when you said that. That's pretty impressive.
Well, it's the NFC South. I mean, the division's absurd, but it's not funny. Minnesota beat Arizona 34-26. The Vikings now taking the place of the Giants as the 6-1 team that not many people feel is any good. And that's just Vikings fans. Arizona, meanwhile, falls to 3-5. And I think pretty soon, Kingsbury and Kyler Murray are just going to fight it out. We're going to put them in a ring. We're going to sell tickets for charity, and we're going to let them go. Dallas beat Chicago 49-29, and that's without Ezekiel Elliott. Get used to it, Zeke. You ain't going to be there next year either. Tony Pollard, they improved to like 15-0 every time he gets like 15 or more touches in a game. Huh? Coincidence? 131 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Seattle beat the Giants 27-13. Seattle leads the West at 5-3. Giants fall to 6-2. San Francisco beat the Rams because that's what they do in the regular season. 31-14. That's 8 straight wins over the Rams in the regular season. San Francisco's 4-4. The Rams fall to 3-4. This Christian McCaffrey guy, he ran for a score, caught a score, threw for a score. Last guy to do that in a game, Christian McCaffrey. New England beat the Jets in Lee Sterling's play of the year. That was his play of the year. New England minus 2.5. They won by 5. That was his 50-unit, back up the truck, take out a loan, 22-17 Patriots. They've beaten the Jets 13 straight times.
Pats caught a little break in the first half in that game. They called a roughing the passer penalty that was close.
Pick six. On a
And it
pick
was a
six.
pick six.
I will say this. Now, the two of us, it would take a felony for us to throw the flag for roughing the passer. But by rule, the defender did leave his feet. He did launch himself into Mac Jones.
I got you.
But yes, I mean, we've also seen that happen and they let it go. And that would have made it 17-3, Jets, Jets at that point. No Ryan Tannehill. Malik Willis threw for 55 yards. The Titans lost the turnover battle and won easily over Houston 17-10. And I say easily because Houston scored with like 10 seconds left in the game. Titans have won 6 in a row. How many people know that? They're 6-2. That division's over.
Also qualifies the team that nobody thinks is any good right now.
A Vikings-Titans Super Bowl. The two teams are 12-3, and everybody thinks they suck. Houston's 1-5-1. They're going to battle Detroit for who's on the clock. And this just in, the whole Davis Mills thing, that's over. Derrick Henry, by the way, 219 yards rushing. It's his 4th 200-yard rushing game against the Texans. His 6th all time. Washington beat Indy 17-16. Snyder getting some payback on Irsay. 9 plays, 89 yards in the final 3 minutes. Washington goes down the field, scores, wins it. They're 4-4. They've won 3 in a row. Indy's 3-4-1.
Because when you thought toughest divisions in the league and everybody halfway through the season 500 or better, you thought NFC East.
Right. The Saints shut out Las Vegas. I'm done talking about the Raiders. You're welcome. Saints are 3-5. Raiders are 2-5. Kamara with 3 touchdowns. By the way, apparently the Bills are trying to acquire Kamara.
Because they need more weapons.
Right. And the Saints keep raising the price. And speaking of the Bills, they beat Green Bay 27-17. They're 6-1. Packers have lost 4 in a row. They're 3-5. Monday Night Football, it's where I am in Cleveland, where it's rainy, by the way, and mid-50s and a little bit of breeze. 4-3 Bengals at the 2-5 Browns. Cincy a 3-point favorite. Over-unders 45, which means, Mark, Vegas says 24-21 Cincy. Make your bets accordingly. College football polls are out. Georgia's still number 1. Ohio State's 2 in the coaches poll. Ohio State and Tennessee are tied for 2 in the AP poll. UCF makes both polls at number 25 because they held off Cincinnati. The Big 12 signed a new media rights deal with the same 2 companies they're in business with now, Fox and ESPN. They have 2 years left on the current deal. Then the 6-year deal for $2.2 billion will kick in, where each school will get around $32 million minimum. There are clauses in it if other teams join the conference where maybe schools start making up to $50 million a year. So think about UCF, what you're making now versus what you're going to make real soon. Yeah. World Series Game 3's tonight. The series is tied at 1, by the way. Phillies overcame a 5-run deficit against Verlander and the Stros Friday night. And then they jumped out to a 5-0 lead and held off 5-2 on Saturday. It's Lance McCullers against Noah Syndergaard tonight, 8 o'clock on Fox. Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, and Ross Chastain will race for the NASCAR title Sunday in Phoenix. Bell won at Martinsville to make the Final 4. Chastain passed 5 cars in the final 2 turns with an epic maneuver, which he throttled his car and went into the wall and rode the wall at full speed to move into the top 5 and win. A video move, literally, he said, I took it out of the video game I used to play with my brother when I was 8. So there. Mark, quick NBA note, the Lakers picked up their first win. Yes. So the world will continue to rotate on its axis and the whole deal. They're 1-5. They beat Denver by 11. Orlando's 1-6. They lost in Dallas. And by the way, there were 5 hockey games yesterday, and 3 of them went to overtime or a shootout. So you got that going for you, which is nice. And if you really want to know, Seamus Power won in Bermuda, okay, on the PGA Tour. And the 4 Aces team of DJ, Pat Perez, Patrick Reed, and Taylor Gooch won the title, and the $4 million each. They all won $4 million for going to Doral this week. Cameron Smith won the individual title by 3. He won $2 million. That's just for this week. That's how they roll, see? And that was... Are we not doing that anymore?
Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So there you have it. A lot of tidbits with the meat there. I mean, we could a lot of side appetizers with the meat there. And what road do you want to go down?
Who doesn't love a good appetizer? I will say the Big 12 media deal from a UCF standpoint is fascinating because they're going to be getting ACC-type money. And when you start looking at Miami and Florida State and what UCF might be able to pull off, I find it really interesting where this will go with the Big 12 and UCF. Miller and Moulton. We'll dive into some of those appetizers on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You for listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Derrick Henry is ridiculous.
Miami's going to sign Messi?
No.
Now, Maldonado was given bats by Pujols as a gift, and for whatever reason, they're not letting him use those bats anymore.
Where are you seeing that, Mark?
On Twitter. Inter Miami expect to sign Lionel Messi and are hoping to complete a deal in the next few months, despite PSG pushing for renewal and Barcelona's interest.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's what that league does, is sign guys that can't play anymore.
Messi can still play. The GOAT.
Well, what I find fascinating is, didn't that franchise get hit with like major penalties and what have you because they had signed too many players to too big of deals and broken the rules? So how are they going to be able to sign Messi? Because I thought they were hit with like pretty big restrictions.
Ooh, actually, I think
I'm just reading a tweet. I don't.
Right. No.
There was no article even attached to it, David.
No, but I think David's right because I remember the MLS might have penalized them for something, and it might have been that. Well, if that's the case, they probably shouldn't play a single home game at the stadium they play, and they should play every single one at the Hard Rock because they would sell out probably every game that Messi plays. $15 seconds. $5 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday, the final day of October. You know what that means. Happy Halloween! How many of you celebrated it this weekend in some way, shape, or form? How'd your 2 trunk or treats go?
Oh, they went really well. The school did a great job on Friday. The church did a great job on Saturday. We actually went, one of our neighbors had like a block party on Saturday. We went and met even more neighbors, David.
More Halloween.
Yeah.
Wow. How much candy can an 8-year-old and their parents eat? And
Well, the block party was more. I mean, the kids were having fun, but it was as much for the adults as it was for the kids.
Oh, good. Good. I'm glad. And a holiday that's just for the kids. I mean, come on, that's not fair. You've got to think of what about us? I mean, come on now. We're the ones with the money. We're the ones spending it. Come on, have a little something for the effort here.
Absolutely. So fired up. She's fired up for tonight. Tonight's the big night.
By the way, is it same costume to all three?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. I didn't, I didn't know if this is like rehearsal dinner, it's just in which you got to wear different outfits and different themes for each. I don't know.
One costume. She's been all in. She's a cat. She likes cats. She's a cat. So we've been, yeah.
Like a tiger cat, lion cat?
No, like a house cat, like a black house cat.
Huh.
She's got a little outfit. And mom paints the face a little bit with the whiskers. And off we go.
Do the parents wear outfits?
Not this parent.
No? What about the other one?
No.
Is mother-daughter matching cat outfits? No?
My wife is more anti-costume than I am, and it's not close.
Wow.
I even said, because my daughter wants all of us to dress up, and I said I'd do it. My wife looked at me, really, you're going to put that on me, huh?
Well, that is true. She just sees the work involved. I would have thought since she went as a cat, though, and your wife being a vet, that maybe but then again, maybe because she does that full time, she doesn't want to have anything to do with it in her rest of her life. Okay. Yeah.
Might be onto something.
No,
might be onto something.
That's kind of like people coming up to us and all they want to do is talk about sports, and every now and then we're like, I kind of do it for a living. I don't know. Is there something you want to bring up that's less controversial, like politics? Anything?
I'd like to go back to Saturday, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And just keep it right in the state. Because, just quickly, Florida State went and did what they were supposed to do.
And covered. Thank you very much.
By a point.
They put in their late grunter with like a minute and a half to go. And then Georgia Tech came down and scored on like the final play of the game. And fortunately, since it was the final play of the game, no conversion.
Right.
So winner, chicken dinner.
They did what they were supposed to do. Beat a bad team. Those are the little steps that you take in order to find yourself back to where they want to go. They had a really rough stretch of games. They go get Georgia Tech and they whoop them. Good for them.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm.
UCF was really impressive.
That's
a big win.
Absolutely.
That's a
Got them
nice
ranked.
win.
Got them ranked. For those that don't know, UCF came in at 25th in both coaches and AP poll.
The Gators had happened to them about what we expected to have happen to them. In fact, about exactly what Las Vegas said was going to happen to them.
Yeah, 22-point game. Let me tell you, that was simply when did you place your bet? Because that line was anywhere from 21 to 23, depending on when you placed your bet.
But what the Miami Hurricanes did on Saturday may have set football back a dozen years.
Whoo! Unbelievable. What's more unbelievable, Ross Chastain's move on the final lap or the Canes-Virginia game? It's a tough one. Could be a poll question.
Well, it's Chastain's because we're going to try to focus more on good during the show, but 6-6 in regulation.
Miami at first and goal. And Miami at first and goal at the 3 in the final minute.
Right.
They're going to punch this thing in. They're going to win 10-6. This baby's over, Mark. Over. Done. Mm-hmm.
I know it's a backup quarterback. I get it. But that's Virginia you were playing.
Mm-hmm.
Miami was supposed to contend in their side for the ACC. They still haven't covered against a Division
1A opponent. Right. Because the spread was 2.5. It was either a push or a bad beat. In fact, that was the only pick that Lee Sterling did not win this weekend. He went 4-0-1 on his picks, got his game of the week right with the Cowboys, and got his game of the year right with the Patriots.
Which has him 3-0 on big money bets. He's made 3 this year. He's hit all of them.
Correct.
Like 53-18 in the last 10 years on his big money bets.
Just saying. Do what you want.
And, you know, like Lee has before, he struggled with his free games on our show earlier in the season. Then he found his groove again.
So Miami and Virginia play 4 quarters, and then they play 4 overtimes. Now, in the first 2 overtimes, right, you can score a touchdown.
Correct.
And then beginning in the 3rd overtime, it's just the whole 2-point conversion.
Go for 2-point conversions. The game went to 4 overtimes because neither team was able to convert on their 2-point conversion in the 3rd overtime.
Well, Mark, it's 2.5 yards. I mean, that's from here to eternity for Miami and Virginia. Are you kidding me?
And in the world of analytics, Miami kicked field goals from basically the goal line at the end of the game. That's how bad it was that Cristobal said, we can't score from 2 yards. We better force this thing into overtime by kicking a field goal at 6-3.
Miami did not get to 300 yards of offense against Virginia, just so you know. Virginia. Yet they won. They're 4-4. Did you see the line for the Miami-Florida State game?
Florida State, 8.5 point favorite?
Uh-huh. I've seen it as high as 9. Can you believe a 5-3 Florida State team is a 9-point favorite going to Hard Rock? Wow.
Now, the good news, Miami got the top corner in the country that committed to them over the weekend.
Man, is John Ruiz spending money. Think about this. They can't keep putting a worse product on the field, and they can't keep getting top recruits. The two usually do not go hand in hand. In fact, it's usually just the opposite. Kids go, oh, man, wow. This is not what they promised me. I'm not going to go there.
Good news is if you're checking out the games as an incoming freshman, you know you're going to get on the field quickly.
By the way, Florida State looks as if they're about to flip a 5-star commit to a kid who had verbal to Texas. Apparently he visited Tallahassee on Saturday. When the game was over, he was interviewed, and he said, came here and saw exactly what I wanted to see. These guys have checked all the boxes. Oh, okay. So some good news on the recruiting trail, at least for the 2 ACC schools in state.
But that and I know they won, and you know, a win is a win. I get it. But wow, David, that Miami performance just has to leave a bad taste in your mouth. If that is just damn near unacceptable.
Well, it is unacceptable, even though they won. But thankfully, they at least won. Because now it looks as if they can salvage at least a bowl season out of this. Which, you know, it's pretty embarrassing if you can't go to a bowl nowadays. I mean, you usually get the schedule 2 or 3 wins. In some cases, you schedule 4 of them. You only need to get to 6. It's pretty embarrassing if you can't go to a bowl. Just ask Florida State fan recently how it's felt. So, whew.
But I had to go there, and we'll get our poll question up here. I think we need to go with your original idea.
What was that?
What are you more interested in? World Series Game 3 or Monday Night Football?
There you go. There you go.
Could just ask what type of Halloween candy you're giving away tonight and get lots of votes.
Ooh. Well, it's your call. Poll question's you. Play of the day is Felipe. You know, starting 5 is me. That's it. That's all I'm really responsible for anymore. That and hopefully showing up.
As long as the links work, we get you in.
Right.
And that's 50-50 at best these days, like everything else.
Man,
Holy
53-47 on a good day.
Miller and Moulton, the text line's open. It's 21,000. You can chime in on your comments from the weekend. If you never texted before, you need to text the keyword FSN radio one time. Once you've done that, you are in. As there were texts waiting for us, David. All about Ross Chastain.
How about that? Kyle Larson apparently has come out and said that Chastain's move is not good for the sport. Really? That's funny. You guys have raced 8 previous races here in the so-called playoffs. You haven't gotten any attention whatsoever. Chastain makes a video game move in the final half of the final lap in Martinsville, and he's going to be on like the Dan Patrick show later today. Really? Terrible, huh?
Yeah, lighten up, Francis, would be my comment to you, Chase. Nice kid. We're lucky enough to meet him a couple months ago, but come on.
Come on now. Take it any way you can get it, baby.
Absolutely. And now they've got a little juice for their final race because that'll get shown all week long.
Oh, that's all you're going to see from NBC. They're just going to mention the other 3 guys. Oh, yeah, by the way, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott.
But it was Ross Chastain going all video game on the last lap at Martinsville. If you haven't seen it, it is worth, and even if you are not a NASCAR fan, I'm telling you right now, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in a race. And I don't think I oversold it to you, David, because you were on a flight when I texted it to you.
Hey, NASCAR drivers who have won 20, 30, 40 races think it's the damnedest thing they've ever seen.
Miller and Moulton, Gary Danielson in 25 minutes to talk college football right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, .com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Wow.
I got humbled in pickleball the other day by some kids who actually play. Yeah, it was a tragic experience. Was murdered.
Shocking.
Yeah. Sure you would have loved to have seen it.
No.
No.
No. I don't have any interest in watching pro pickleball, let alone rank amateur pickleball.
Oh my gosh. Turns out I've also been playing the game kind of wrong.
Oh, you mean the one who's the expert at it?
Right. I'm an expert. Yeah, all this. Yeah. They tell me they're like, you play too much like it's tennis. It's not tennis, it's pickleball. I'm like, damn it.
John, we both, for what it's worth, picked Astros in 6, so we'll see.
I got the Phils in 6.
Hey. They seem to have a team of destiny feel.
Talking about the Fightins. The Fightins.
Halloween costumes tonight at the World Series could be tremendous.
Yes. You know what? I might tune into the World Series mainly because of that.
I'm going to tune into the World Series because I have zero interest in Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yeah, no offense. I just want to see David's costume on TV. Hopefully.
No offense taken. I don't care.
No offense.
I get paid if you watch or not. I don't care. And
besides, I already know half the show is going to be watching that game really intensely. So I'll.
Right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Gary Danielson of CBS Sports to join us coming up in a little less than 20 minutes' time. He broadcast the cocktail party on Saturday. He's got a cute little game this coming Saturday, 1 versus 2 in the AP poll anyway. Georgia, Tennessee, 1 versus 3 in the other poll. And then tomorrow, I guess, Mark, the college football committee releases their poll?
Yes, they do.
Are we sure Georgia will be number 1 in it? I mean, we talked about it a week or so ago. We said if we were starting from scratch, if we take the preseason polling out of it, if we were starting from scratch, we would have had Tennessee or Clemson based on who they've played number 1.
Tennessee's got the most impressive win to me.
Clemson's beaten 4 ranked teams, 3 of them in the ACC and Oregon. I mean, no, Georgia beat Oregon, my bad. But, I mean, 3 ranked teams in conference. A little something for the effort, right? Come on now.
And who would you have ranked higher right now, Michigan or Ohio State?
They both beat Penn State. Michigan pounded them at home. Ohio State pulled away in the final minutes to win by 20 at Happy Valley. It was basically a 1-score game, though, for about 57 minutes, but that's all right. It helped them with the polling probably to pull away late and win. Because, Mark, most people who do polls aren't paying attention. They just looked and went, oh, wow, Ohio State beat Penn State by 20.
Certainly not the coaches or their SIDs because they're all at the game that they were at.
Right. So, Gary Danielson in about 15 minutes' time. Hey, quick tangent. I know it's not the baseball hour, quick tangent. Did you see what Rob Manfred said on Friday? He said the A's are going to Vegas. I mean, when the commissioner says, I think they're going to Vegas, it just, we've given Oakland every opportunity, and it just doesn't seem as if it's going to happen. And then he was asked about the Rays, and he said, we're going to get a deal. We're going to get a new stadium in Tampa Bay. He said, made sure to say Tampa Bay. So we said once they settle the A's, the whole sport's going to turn their attention to the Rays because they got to get that settled before they bring in the 2 expansion teams. And believe me, they want the expansion money as soon as possible.
Right. They don't want relocation.
No.
Relocation takes billions away from the fund of getting a new team. There's nothing better for the owners than 2 expansion teams that are going to pay a couple billion each, and that's going to be divided by the 30 owners.
Right. No,
It's
they don't want
money.
They don't want the Rays taking away a prime expansion site. Are you kidding? So, Rays, you're almost on the clock. Almost. The Lions are still on the clock. They're taking their time with the final seconds. We all know who they're going to take, but for whatever reason, they're taking the full 15 minutes.
Poor Oakland.
Lost.
I mean, the Warriors, the
Right.
Raiders, and now the
A's, all in 3 years.
Yep.
good.
That's
God.
it's a bad 3 years.
It really is.
That's a bad 3 years.
In Vegas, which was the city you could never have a professional sports franchise in.
You couldn't even do a fantasy draft there.
Right.
We threatened to kick you out of the sport 8 years ago if you hold a fantasy football draft in Vegas in 2014. The NFL was an hour away from kicking Tony Romo out of the sport. Now we're going to have 4 teams in an F1 race.
Right. Probably a Super Bowl at some point, too.
Probably.
Well, not probably. Definitely going to have a Super Bowl at some point.
Going to have one in 2 years, and I'll bet you it becomes part of the rotation.
Should.
Oh,
LeBron's going to own an NBA team there in about 5 years.
That stadium is so cool. Allegiant Stadium. They have a club in one of the end zones.
It's Vegas, baby.
Miami should have the same thing.
Yeah, it's got that right.
Yeah, Hard
Got
Rock.
that right.
Old stadium.
Don't worry. You can knock walls down. They'll build one there soon enough.
Yeah. If only it wasn't in Miami Gardens. But, I digress. Not very clutch.
Miller and Moulton, Gary Danielson joining us in about 12 minutes' time.
It's time now for our Clutch Vodka Play of the Day. Set it up, Felipe. What do we got?
It was the Christian McCaffrey show yesterday. He had a rushing touchdown. He had a receiving touchdown. And he even did this.
Ayuk right, they motion McCaffrey, backwards pass to McCaffrey, and he's going to throw downfield wide open. Brandon Ayuk, touchdown! San Francisco! He can run! He can catch!
Is on
Fire! Christian McCaffrey can throw!
So glad I included that.
Now they had some fun with that.
Right.
That's cool.
Right. And the color guy sat out, let
Yep.
him make the call, and then came in with this line. That's perfect. That's how it's done. That's our Clutch Vodka Play of the Day. Clutch Vodka with those great watch parties. I'm sure the Dull fan was at Seaside getting upset in the first half. Probably needed 2 Bloody Marys at halftime before Tua took the Dolphins on his back and led them to victory.
So Saturday morning, I'm in a hotel having brunch with my mom. It's a buffet thing, but we're seated in the bar area because the place is packed. And so the bar is 12 feet behind me. And my mother and I both heard it because, she follows the show on Twitch. So she's familiar with Clutch Vodka. But she's never seen it or heard of it outside of the show. Guy walks up to the bar, orders a drink. First off, before 10 a.m. I mean, it is the cocktail party, A. And B, says, "Hey, got any Clutch Vodka?" Oh, whoa! All right, there we go. Of course, then, proud mom. Think he heard about it on Miller and Moulton?
Yes.
That's exactly what I said. I go, yep.
Exactly.
I go, the no other marketing of any kind. Nothing.
It was all us.
Yep.
I went to a Total Wine this weekend and saw some Clutch vodka.
There we
you
go.
go.
Yeah.
So
I went to my liquor cabinet and drank some Clutch vodka this weekend.
see, look at that. A 3 for 3 here on the show.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Might even have it in the golf cart tonight. Who knows?
Who knows?
Oh, wait, it's Halloween. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I am, in fact, wearing a pickle costume after all.
Now, is he wearing it right now?
Oh, yeah.
That's Felipe, I will give it up to you. Okay, wearing it to work. Because I'm not wearing Sully to the game. Like, I'm not walking into the stadium in my Sully costume. I'm just bringing it with me. I'm going to change in the booth, actually. I'm not even going to walk around in the press box. You know, I don't want to be standing in the meal line at 6:30 as Sully.
That's so chicken blank. If you're going to do it, make an entrance, Moulton.
Mark, it's a mile
straight from the Sully.
It's a mile walk from the hotel to the stadium. You want me to walk to the game as Sully? Sully's got a tail and everything.
Now, from what I saw from your Twitter post, is it like a onesie?
It is. It's
Yeah,
a onesie with a headgear and a tail. The tail you have to add. I think it's Velcro. My head's so big I can't strap the mask. It won't. The two sides won't touch. My daughter bought the costume. She goes, "Dad, I got the biggest head they had." I said, "Don't know what to tell you, honey. I'm bigger."
Miller and Moulton, or Miller and Sully.
Right.
At least for a day. I've got a 22-year-old dressed like a pickle to my left, and I've got a large cranium man who's going to wear a Sully costume on Monday Night Football tonight.
Hey, pickleball. Get it right.
Looked like a pickle to me. Miller
Whatever.
and Moulton. Gary
Right.
Danielson is next.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I should have been a pilot instead. Oh, that's a missed opportunity right there. My pilot in real life. Oh yeah, I have that dog in me. I can do it. I can land that bird.
By the way, how about Maddie with the 4-1 week?
Hey, now.
We'll all take a pledge not to bet the Raiders anymore. We'll
I'm
be
done.
in good shape.
I'm done.
Jeez, I can't believe I picked them to win the Super Bowl.
Well, that's out there.
Yeah.
Well,
That streak, they didn't even score. They got shut out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Jackson State won, right? Because they had game day.
Yeah, I think so.
That's cool.
Did you send him Gary's number?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
it.
Just making sure.
Gary's on hold, and he's past the age of dressing up for Halloween.
okay. Jackson State won 35-0.
Ooh, nice. I'll look up the stats, see how Jan's kid played. Prime Junior. Clippers are 2-4. 30 seconds. Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us on this final day of October. So it means happy Halloween to all of you. Some of us getting dressed up. Some of us are sane and adult and not. So that means I'll be as Sully tonight in Cleveland for Monday Night Football. Gary Danielson's joining us. When's the last time you wore a Halloween costume?
Oh, Browns. I went as Bernie Kosar with a wig, and he used to always chew a toothpick. So I put a toothpick in my hair, had a big, he used to kind of curl his hair, I think, a little bit, So I went as Bernie Kosar. Sunglasses, cut off T-shirt. Bernie didn't wear much different every day, by the way. I don't know if you know Bernie very well, but it was blue jeans and cut off T-shirt every day for 5 years that I was there, basically.
How did the room take that? I would have to think when you walked in as Bernie, they must have loved that.
Yeah, it was fun. Exactly. I can't remember what Christy went as that year. One year, I have this picture. It's the last picture I would ever show anybody. You know how you're one that you like,
right?
God, I wish I'd have never done this. Okay. And there is a picture of it. I would want any picture released besides this one. Okay. Christy was pregnant and pretty good pregnant. I think she was like a month away with the Lions. And we had a Halloween party, and we went as Raggedy Ann and Andy. And Christy had made a sign that I got rowdy with Raggedy Andy. So too rowdy. And my outfit is pretty embarrassing. She looks great, I gotta say, but mine was like, God, please burn this one, like I said. So that was a pretty good one. So.
Gary did the cocktail party with Brad Nessler on Saturday. Georgia handling Florida, although got a little shaky there late third quarter. And looking ahead, Georgia, Tennessee, right now 1-2 in the AP poll. We'll see what the committee, and they'll release their poll tomorrow, what the quote-unquote official rankings will be. Let's go back to the cocktail party. A lot of Gator fans, I'm sure, going to come up to you in and around town on the golf course and go, Gary, what do you make of the Gators? So 2/3 of the way through the season, Gary, what do you make of the Gators?
That's not actually what they say to me, David. I got to be honest with you. They say, why do you do so much for Georgia? That's what they first start saying, okay?
Wait a minute.
Twitter thing that goes on, by the way.
Wait.
Apparently, I've gone in 17 years to being the biggest Gator homer that ever lived back when the Gators were good, to the biggest Bama homer, although the Bama people don't like me, which is odd. And now I'm the biggest Georgia homer, and I hate the Gators, which is hard to believe because Kirby barely talks to me. So this is very interesting. So that's not the first thing they say. When my dentist gets over me and says, as he's got the big, it's a she, she's a great dentist, a great volleyball player in her day, gets over me and goes, "What?" Has the big syringe. You go, "Why do you hate the Gators?" And I just go, I don't.
Okay, so the second thing they say to you is, hey, what do you make of the Gators?
I still want to say this. I mean, what's your choice? I mean, my lawyer, my banker, or my dentist? Which one would you rather like? I'm going with my dentist. Now, those three I want to placate her the most. Please, I'm not like that. The other two, I figure, who cares?
What do you see, though, from signs of life from the Gators in that game? That third quarter, obviously, they played really well. But are you seeing the things in practice when you've checked them out? Are you? I mean, the coaches all say what they want to say, but do you see a formula that Florida has that's going to be working?
I'm going to say this, and I don't really know yet. I hate to do this because we're supposed to be these experts, but I look at Mark Stoops at Kentucky, and he has worked and worked and worked to build that program. Okay, and I understand Florida's not Kentucky, and he pulls his team up and up and up, and then they get pasted, and he goes to his team afterwards. And he goes, "Guys, this is a tough league, and if you don't have it going, you don't get the great recruits, and it doesn't go well, you're going to lose." It's a lot, similar talent-wise to the NFL. There's so many good future NFL players. So, Florida has a lot of things going for them. They got a really good offensive line, one of the best they've had. Their running backs, they got two of the best running backs in the conference, and they run hard. When Anthony Richardson gets it going with his ability to run and throw, you see what he has as an athlete. They're tough to stop on offense. I don't think they've got a breakout receiver this year. They're all good, but, as receivers go, usually you need a difference maker to really upset these, defenses in the SEC. But defensively, they're okay. Amari Burney played a fantastic game. Ventrell Miller is one of the hardest working, linebackers in the league. I don't know if he's extremely talented, but he makes plays all over the field. I thought Troy Dean had his best game of the year. He's been struggling. But it's just a tough year. I guess the thing that they most have going for them, if you're a Gator fan, is the administration and the coach and the commitment are all on the same page, that they want to build it. They want to, and I think they believe there's no shortcuts. And it's funny, I think Florida believes this, but Billy Napier won't say it out loud. Okay. You can't win when one team's got 25 5-stars and you got 2 in the last 5-6 years. Okay. You're just not as good as them. You can have all the strategy you want, all the game plans, even a lot of luck, and you still might not win. They need better players. And I think Florida has really made the commitment that we get. It's funny. I asked Kirby, it's a long answer and I'm sorry, but I asked Kirby, you were there at Alabama. How hard is it to repeat? How hard is it to get your guys to do it all over again? He goes, I go, what'd you learn from Nick in Alabama? He said, the most thing I learned is you better reload with good players. I think that's the whole thing in this league.
Georgia won the national championship last year and lost a lot of really good players to the draft.
I do love the intensity of Billy Napier, though. Don't agree with all his decisions, but I love his intensity. I love what he said. There's no shortcuts. Don't you believe, as you watch from afar, that, I'm not saying who in the past, okay, but I'm just saying, don't you believe in a 24-hour, 7 days a week football coach that Napier's working 18 to 20 hours a day?
Yeah.
I think he's all in. I think he's all in. So we'll see.
And for whatever it's worth, I think he's right. I mean, I don't see how you beat Alabama, Georgia, probably real soon here, LSU. I don't see how you beat them unless you can damn near match them talent for talent.
Tennessee's coming on with recruiting, too. They're
right.
Another 5-star quarterback right behind them, so that's not going away either. So those are fun. I'll miss, I'm going to miss this thing. This has been a good run. And CBS has got a really exciting thing going forward, but this has been fun. Is this our fourth or fifth 1 versus 2 game, David, that we've done? You're better at this than I am. Probably right. Fourth, I guess.
Well, very quickly, the 2008 and 2009 SEC championship games, Alabama, Florida, were 1 versus 2 because the first one was 1-2 in the AP. The game of the century, LSU, Alabama in 2011 was 1-2. There's some debate about when LSU and Bama in 2019 played the Burrow-Tua matchup.
They were 1 or 2. Whether they were in 1 and 2, they were the 2 best teams.
Well, and
sure, we knew that.
Right. Well, the funny thing is they were 1 and 2 in the AP, but the only poll come November that gets officially recognized now is the College Football Playoff Committee poll. And for whatever reason, they were 2 and 3 years ago in that poll, but they were 1 and 2 in the AP.
See, I'm the opposite on that. Okay. I feel that committee ranking thing is kind of not worth it early. I don't understand why they do it at all, except for ESPN has a TV show that they bleed some money out of it. Okay. Because it's worthless to me. Okay. But I actually would like the combination of the AP or the coaches and just go pick one, whatever one you can sell better on TV is fine with me. But I don't care if you want to use the playoff poll from the committee of those 12 people that golf half the day and eat the other half? I don't really see it.
All right. Tennessee has, with this offense, Gary, when you see it, just what is it? What do they do better than anybody else right now?
Well, they know how to run it, number one, with a coach, offensive coordinator, and offensive line coach all in sync because they've been doing it for 7 years in a row. Okay, so they're like a wishbone team, Mark, that knows how to counter whatever the defense tries to scheme to come up with to stop it. They've seen it before. I mean, how many different ways are there to cover in the triple option offense of Navy and Army, or back in the day, when Oklahoma and used to run it in Texas? How many, and I guess it was Alabama that was really good at it. How many different ways are there to stop the fullback, quarterback, and pitch man? Okay, well, that's the same way they have with the slot and those receivers spread so wide. What are your options? So when they see a tweak on defense, they've done it before. They talk to each other. They go, oh, yeah, this is just like when we played, Oklahoma State back in, 2018. We've done this before at Oklahoma. We've done it before at UCF. So they've got the answer. And now they've got a veteran quarterback. Hendon Hooker is a really good athlete. And they have speed at wide receiver. I mean, they don't have Tyreek Hill speed, but you saw what the Waddle and Tyreek are doing in the NFL. Well, in a similar way, Jalen Hyatt, their slot, is maybe the second or first fastest guy on the field. And how do you match up a slot with corners? So most likely he gets, half the time he gets a safety and a linebacker on him. Sometimes he gets a corner, but, if you watch it really carefully, they stack him so you can't jam him at the line of scrimmage. And then if the box doesn't get right, they've got a veteran offensive line and a quarterback who can run. So they outnumber you. It's difficult. I think the key to the game, and I don't know if they can do it fast enough, the key to the game is getting Jalen Carter back for Georgia. He played. I don't see how you have enough time to get to Hendon Hooker if you don't come right up the middle at him. And Georgia used to be really good at this with the linebackers. They rushed inside. These new guys are good linebackers, but they're not Nakobe Dean. Okay, they're not what they had a year ago. So I think it's got to be an inside-out pass rush, and I think it's great news that Georgia has Carter back for this football game if you're a Georgia fan.
All right, got about 90 seconds. From a Georgia standpoint, they're a different team this year, throwing it nearly twice as much as they were last year. Could that benefit them in this game? Because let's face it, when you play Tennessee, you kind of show up thinking, man, we got to score about 35-38 to have a shot.
Yeah, it's funny. Both teams and both coaches, I know, are going to say the same thing. We're going to have to be balanced this whole football game to do this right. It's extremely important for Georgia. They need the play-action pass game to use those tight ends, and they need to take advantage of having really 7 blockers on the field when they have those 2 tight ends in, and they give teams fits with that formation because they're so good at beginning out there and giving you the power game. And then with Bowers off of it, he's almost like he's like a Kelsey coming off that spot as a tight end. But, I think, I don't know, you guys can agree. I think Georgia, when they put this game plan together on yesterday and today, I think Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator, looks at Kirby and says, how many do I got to get? And I think Kirby says, you got to get me 35 points.
He's Gary Danielson. He and Brad Nessler will call Georgia and Tennessee. Right now it's 1-2. A new poll comes out tomorrow, and we shall see. It'll be the 5th time that Gary, just in the SEC, he called a few 1 versus 2 matchups in his days with ABC and ESPN as well.
One more thing.
10 seconds.
NASCAR, that Chastain thing? I thought it was Tyreek Hill coming around the corner there. Right there. Going past those Lions DBs.
Happy Halloween, Gary. Gary has to have a lot of candy at home. He's got 14 grandkids. Okay,
Boy.
just for his own family, Mark. He's got to have a lot of candy. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water, pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Salvi, I can only tell you how we paired up. And ultimately, we paired up because we always thought that, and I don't want this to sound, arrogant in any way, but we just thought that one, when we would talk to each other at our respective jobs, we thought we had interesting conversations. And when we would have a beer after a Blades game or what have you, we thought that our conversation was interesting. Now, a lot of people think that their conversations are interesting, but we just thought like others enjoyed our conversation also. And the other thing was we knew over half the time we didn't agree. And then, we're both working at the same station. We're doing different shifts. And there were times where we kind of did little segments together. And then, Mark literally drove in off the road after doing sales. And we did an hour with Mark in the studio and me on location. And it was a really good hour. And so it just kind of confirmed what the two of us kind of always thought, that, if we had to do this, we'd be okay at it.
And Salvi, if you're doing it, regardless, if you're starting a podcast, be consistent. If you're putting it out on Mondays, then it needs to come out every Monday at the same time. People start looking forward to something. Be consistent. Don't do hot takes. Trust your gut.
Yeah, you need to just be authentic. However, if it's you and someone else, if it's for whatever, just be authentic. In some ways, we joke that the audience isn't that smart, but the one thing the audience will tell you if you're any good. And if the audience doesn't think you're authentic, believe me, they will tell you. And then, yes, at the end of the day, as Hop says, a few sponsors would help.
Boy, would they ever.
Well, SEC me, even though I don't think Joe Burrow's ever beaten Cleveland, and he's without Chase tonight. To me, it's, am I betting on Joe Burrow or am I betting on Jacoby Brissett?
It's in Cleveland, right? Oh, you're in Cleveland. What am I saying? Yes, of course. Sorry.
I'd go with the latter, Adam. I think Balky's a terrible GM, but right now, Adam, you said it. Or I don't, I'm not going to write off Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence has cost you at least 2 games this year.
Potential fraud?
No, it's year 2. Okay, it's year 2.
Look at Josh Allen year 2.
Yes, and it's his second system also. I mean, just chill out. Everybody's got to chill out.
It's completely fair.
Mark, the answer is yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but Geno Smith for MVP.
Hey.
I love him. I love him so much. It wrote me off, so I didn't write back.
I loved what he said yesterday. Dedicated the game to Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese, who were the coach and GM of the Giants when they benched Eli for him.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the 8 o'clock hour, final hour of our show in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice, halfway home for those in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I come at you from cloudy, at times rainy Cleveland, where temps are in the mid-50s. Off and on rain is the forecast for the day, basically, and night, this Halloween night. Bengals and Browns, Monday Night Football. It's also Game 3 of the World Series in Philadelphia. Astros and Phillies. Did we go with that as our poll question?
We did. What are you more interested in? And right now, World Series Game 3 getting 2/3 of the votes.
Yeah, well, that's good news for Fox. It's also good news for baseball because, let's face it, baseball has become very much a regional sport. People in their cities interested in it if it's not the Yankees, and not much else. So this would be good. It is Fox against ESPN. Fox has an advantage tonight, obviously, over the air versus the cable, but would be interesting head-to-head to see how it does tonight.
It will be. I think football may win out when it's all said and done because, well, it's the NFL.
I think it depends on the game. Also, and I don't know if this matters, Mark, I think the baseball game is going to start 12 to 15 minutes early. So, will it depend on a first inning excitement? Will people maybe start there? And if, it starts off exciting, like what was the first inning? Was it game 4, the NLCS? Padres scored 4 in the top of the first. Philly scored 3 in the bottom of the first. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's a terrific first inning. And if you're Fox in baseball, you're hoping so because you've got about almost a full inning here advantage. Take advantage of it.
Tough night for both. I mean, you are going up against trick-or-treating.
No doubt. No doubt.
I mean, someone's got to be manning the door while someone's walking the kid around the neighborhood. So,
hey, just for the heck of it, based on the results, we're one game away from having either 7 or 8 games totally in the books, depending on your team. Playoffs started today. Eagles, Vikings, Falcons, Seahawks. Hello. Your division champions in the NFC. Cowboys, Giants, Niners would be your wild cards. Niners win the tiebreaker over the Commanders, who quietly have won 3 in a row. Not all that impressive. I think they've won the 3 games by 8 total points. But hey, they're 4-4. Taylor Heineke to the rescue. And the whole NFC East, the division that you expected.
right.
What's the best division in football? Please, can't even believe you'd ask that question. It's not the AFC West. It's the NFC East. Please. Morons. And then in the AFC, Mark, Bills, Ravens, and even if the Bengals win tonight, it's the Ravens. They'd have the same record, and Baltimore beat them head-to-head. Tennessee, can we put an X next to them?
Yes.
I mean, they're 6-2. The Colts are 3-4-1, and they've beaten the Colts twice. And Kansas City. Those are your division winners. Jets, Dolphins, Chargers as of this moment in time, because they're 4-3 and the Bengals are 4-3, and the Chargers have a better conference record. Obviously, a Bengals win tonight, 5-3. Technically, they would join 5-3 Jets, 5-3 Dolphins, and those would be your wild card teams. So, Mark, and we're being kind, mediocre as the league seems to be this year, at least right now, all the playoff teams are still 500 or above. Whew.
Well, that's mostly because of the Carolina Panthers. Not because of the Atlanta Falcons. Although I will give them credit, they finally figured out that they have Kyle Pitts on their team, and they're going to throw him the football once in a while now. So, I mean, halfway through the season, way to go, Atlanta. Way to figure that out, that you've got an unbelievable, uncoverable weapon on your team, and you're going to use him for more than a blocker.
And I'm wondering how many fantasy owners held on to him just long enough, or did you bail and you're now going, blankety, blankety, blank.
There's no tight end, so you're not bailing on a Kyle Pitts. That's the only thing about that, is that I don't think, if they did, they're foolish. There's other guys I could see, whether it's a receiver, running back type thing, but when there's 0 tight ends in the league, there's a couple of guys that you get and everybody else is just a guy. You got to hang on to a Pitts there, so I'm guessing they did. But if you did not catch the end of that game, Carolina throws a 65-yard touchdown pass. DJ Moore catches the ball, takes his helmet off, gets assessed a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. They kicked a 48-yard extra point that they missed. Then their kicker misses a chip shot after Mariota throws an interception in overtime. And then finally, Atlanta comes back down, marches down the field, and would win with a field goal late.
Mark, the other list in the NFL that's in some ways even more important than what I just read you, which was if the playoffs started today. Mark, if the draft were tonight, the Lions would have the first pick, the Texans the second, Carolina 3, Steelers 4, the Jags, it's nice to see another year still a top 5 pick. Way to go, guys. Way to go. Jags at 5. Raiders, how about that? Playoffs to 6th pick of the draft. Huh? How about Steelers? Playoffs to 4th pick of the draft. Well done, boys. Well done. Texas, Houston's, because they have Cleveland's pick because of Deshaun Watson. So right now, the Houston Texans are drafting at 2 and 7. Tampa Bay's got the 8th pick of the draft. Good news, you're a game out of first. Bad news, you have the 8th pick of the draft. And how about this one, Mark? The Eagles, undefeated. And yet they have the 9th pick of the draft because they have the Saints' first-round pick.
Right.
And Seattle's in first place.
There you go. I was hoping you went all the way through the top 10 there just for that reason, David.
And Seattle's in first place, and yet they have the 10th overall pick of the draft thanks to the Russell Wilson trade. So there you have it. You have the, hey, if the playoffs started today, And hey, if the draft were tonight.
And what's terrible is those 10 teams you're talking about with the draft, and really the 8, because 7, because a couple teams are getting other teams' picks. That's all that's left for them. This season's over.
Well, I think the Tampa Bay and New Orleans are both thinking, come on now, we're going to win our division. Are you kidding me? This is just a momentary pit stop. That's what they're telling themselves.
That's what they're
Mark.
thinking.
Right. I mean, I don't know how many of us believe it at this point in time, although got to admit, if you're chasing the Atlanta Falcons, you can keep hope alive for a pretty long time.
You can, but there's making the playoffs and thinking that team has a legitimate shot to do something in the playoffs. And right now, there's nothing that New Orleans or Tampa have done to tell you that they could do anything in the postseason.
Dolphins had a really good day yesterday, though. They came from behind and won on the road. Doesn't matter who it's against. They came from behind and won on the road. This is the National Football League. You know what the only thing that matters? The number in the left-hand column. That is it. That is it. This is not a playoff committee who's going to take beauty points, and it doesn't matter. They've got 5 wins in 8 games. They're in the playoffs. Jets lost. It's good news. Moves them back down, tied with the Dolphins. Thank you very much. And listen, if you're a Dolph fan, you're rooting for the Browns tonight. You've already lost to the Bengals. In a head-to-head tiebreaker scenario for a wild card spot, you don't want to be tied with Cincinnati. Now, if there's 3 or 4 teams tied, then it's conference record and the head-to-head loss won't matter. But, I mean, if you're a Dolph fan, you're rooting for the Browns tonight to beat the Bengals.
You know, we thought this game was going to perhaps be the Deshaun Watson game when we were going through the suspended, how many games he would be suspended, and that there was a possibility that this on Halloween would be the first game.
It was going to be his home debut, the original, 6-game situation. Yep. And the ratings were going to be monstrous. It was going to be uncomfortable, all right, but the ratings were going to be huge. Watson at home, the dog pound, crowd's going to give him damn near a standing ovation. It's going to be awkward as heck nationally, all right. People are going to write the column saying the Cleveland fan sucks, all right, and then we'd see whether or not Watson against Joe Burrow. And what if he played well? What would the announcers say? Joe and Troy actually going to say good things about Deshaun Watson, that blankety blank? And what are they doing in costume? It's tasteless. This is a serious situation. Now, no Deshaun Watson. Hell, are the guys getting dressed up?
Unbelievable. Monday Night Football going to costumes.
Well, you'll see. You'll see. It officially, it will count as going and wearing a costume. Okay, but it's not like, they're going as Zorro.
Unless Buck's going as Cosell, I'm really not interested.
Well, I don't know about the toupee, but but put it this way, I think there's a strong chance that both of them are going to channel their inner Monday Night Football booth from the 70s.
Fantastic. Now that I can get behind. Monday Night Football tonight, Game 3 of the World Series. It is our poll question today. Which one are you more interested in? The Phillies and the Astros, Game 3 in Philadelphia, or Cleveland hosting Cincinnati tonight and Monday Night Football? Some texters are going all baseball. Others are going, I'm too many fantasy implications. If you have fantasy implications, I guess it means you've got a few Bengals. You could have a Joe Burrow going tonight. Hope it's not a fantasy. Yeah, could have a running back for Cleveland going. So there's a little fantasy play there.
Sure. Little Nick Chubb action, little Joe Burrow action. Sure. How many of you had Jamal Chase and are like crying? That's a tough loss right there.
But they didn't put him on the IR.
No. Well, first off, I mean, most of us are like, wait a minute. He's got an injury. It's going to keep him out 4 to 6 weeks. Did you see the final 2 minutes of the Saints game? He looked amazing. Now he can't play for a month and a half? Damn. What's he look like when he's healthy?
Miller and Moulton. Those are your choices tonight. It is our poll question. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or FloridaSportsNetwork.com to vote. We thank you for listening. Back with more on the other side right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Say what you will, but I like the Bears uniforms. The orange ones. I like them.
One of us.
They look like pumpkins.
If my mother was not going to be in town, I would have left town sooner yesterday because the Knicks were playing the Cavs at 6 o'clock. So I was actually, because that is one thing that I do, Mark, months in advance. I check out like the NBA, NHL, MLB schedules and see if there's a crossover.
I can't wait for you to try to get to a Phoenix Coyotes game.
Well, I'm going. We're doing Phoenix because we're doing 2 Arizona games, but the one's in Mexico. So, but the one game we're doing in Arizona, it's this Monday after Army Navy, and the Sunday I fly in and I get to Phoenix at noon local time, and they have a 5:00 game against the Flyers, and I've already got my request in for tickets. Did you see the visitors' locker room?
No.
Oh my God, it's horrendous.
Really?
Horrendous. It's like 20 wooden, just not even a rug. It's awful. It's awful. I don't know how it's 3 years they're supposed to be playing here. I got to think the players are going to complain to the PA, and this is going to be.
Oh my God.
Yes, thank you.
It's a rec rink.
Right. I know. NHL, Mark. NHL. Come on. The guys are not going to tolerate this. 3 years. Well, now they're going to argue, we're building temporary stuff. It's not ready yet. I can't wait to go. It's in like 6 weeks. I can't wait.
They're the Orlando Guardians in the XFL. We've named the teams.
Oh. Another Guardians?
The Houston Roughnecks. The DC Defenders.
I like that one.
And the St. Louis Battlehawks. Those are all old XFL teams.
Right.
The Dallas Renegades are now the Arlington.
Renegades still?
Yes.
Oh, we're coming back. Sorry.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour, the third hour of Miller and Moulton on this final day of October. Happy Halloween. How many of you getting dressed up? How many of you going out, though? Say you're accompanying those that are dressed, parents, grandparents of children and grandchildren. That's okay. Mark do you drive the cart or are you just a passenger?
No, I drive the cart.
Okay.
I'll let her sit on the lap and do a little driving, but I drive the cart. My mom has threatened to come with us, and I don't know what that's all about.
Huh. Is there a reason?
I don't know. It's my mom's dressing up.
Really?
Yes. So she's either going to hand out candy at our house or ride with me.
That's funny. My mom's dressing up tonight. She's going trick-or-treating with the granddaughter and great-granddaughter. Great-granddaughter's going as Boo. I actually don't know what my daughter's dressing up as. All right. And I think my mom's going as Roz. Hello, Wazowski.
That's perfect.
Right.
By the way, that is perfect.
She says she's going to do the hair. For those that remember Monsters, Inc., I believe the hair was almost like, souped up cone-like. All right. She says she's going to do it. She told me before I left, listen, I'm in Jacksonville. Nobody knows me here. And so, what do I care? And I go,
she
no.
She's a member of the Village People. Like, we really think she wouldn't do this now?
Well, that was half a lifetime ago, though, Mark.
She's due.
I agree. But also, once again, what do us Moultons do, Mark? We're great outside the 239.
Well, outside of your own area code.
Right. Well, but that's the point. We're great outside of home. I've only relocated here for, barely a few weeks. And hell, I only sleep in my own bed 2 or 3 nights a week as it is. I mean, it's not home yet. Believe me.
Does it take twice as long for that to become home because you're there so little?
Yes. Yes.
What's been your big accomplishment so far now that you've moved? I mean, is it finding the quickest McDonald's? What is the thing you're most proud of on your own turf? Because you've had to adjust.
It is so funny you say that. All right. Finding where all the food is. Yep. And I found a street that's a shortcut that gets me to like 8 places.
To your
very
fast
quickly.
food nirvana, basically.
And a Publix across the street and my bank on the other side of the street. Yeah, it's fantastic. It was. I felt like I had won a scratch off for like $1 million.
Felt like Ross Chastain with that shortcut, didn't you?
I did.
Driving on the wall.
I did. That 1 mile road that I took, and all of a sudden where I ended up, I felt like I salvaged the top 5 at Martinsville. I did.
We've had the 4-letter network on in the background, and they have their Sports Center show. It's already made that. The fact that any NASCAR driver is going to come out and condemn what Ross Chastain did is so laughable to me. And that Chase Elliott said it's bad for the sport. It's idiotic.
Well, I saw Kyle Larson say it. I didn't see Chase
Kyle
Elliott.
Larson, I'm sorry.
I saw Kyle Larson said it. Well, you got to remember that, guys don't like Ross. I mean, there are some guys that just flat don't like him. That's why even for Denny Hamlin to acknowledge, hey, hell of a move. He tried to then, take a little bit off of it by saying, well, when you have no other choice, it's a lot easier to try, but you got to give him credit for pulling it off. And obviously we know Denny Hamlin would light Ross Chastain on fire if he could get away with it. Although Hamlin did say, we were grinding out there. Final 40 laps, he goes, and I was impressed with how clean the racing was considering how hard it was. So that's another thing in which I really believe that heading into next year, that I'm not saying Ross is starting with a clean slate, but he's starting with a mostly clean slate. There's a big asterisk in the corner that basically says, now you mess with me and it's on. But right now, all right, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
And Ross Chastain was terrific in his post-race interview where they started talking about his history. And he's like, hey, now come on. A couple of years ago, we were trying not to be minus double-digit laps in a car. He goes, so, 2 years ago, I was trying not to be minus 10 laps. That was our goal, to not go double-digit down in laps.
Right.
And I'm racing for a championship next week.
Right. I mean, when this season started, come on. Did anybody say Ross Chastain was going to be racing for a championship? He had not won a race yet. He had not won a NASCAR race yet. He had like 3 top 10s, all of them on super speedways. 2 of them because he was in the back of the pack and 20 guys wrecked in front of him. And so there were only so many cars left at the end.
But that will be the video from the weekend. That and the P.J. Walker touchdown pass. You think about the 2 big highlights. One guy finishes 5th in a race to qualify for the championship. Didn't win it with that great move. The Walker play is the best pass of the year. That should have won the game for Carolina, but a celebration penalty caused them to have a kick a 48-yard extra point that they missed.
Well, and there's a part of me that's glad that the Carolina kicker, who's going to be out of work here soon, missed the chip shot, which was 31 yards, something like that in overtime, because then it would have gotten the officials off the hook. See, once again, we're debating right now in the NFL, what is roughing the passer? We don't seem to know. It's very much a hit by hit on the quarterback situation. mean, we all see a play and now wonder, ooh, they're going to call roughing on that? I mean, and it's probably going to be that way for the rest of the year, at least until the playoffs, at which point they're going to allow the quarterbacks to get killed, and we're all going to laugh and go, but no, they don't officiate the playoffs differently. But I digress. But now, Mark, because we had two instances in which teams with late game heroics, in which wide receivers on the field took their helmets off. And in one case, a team was penalized, and in another case, they weren't. Well, I'm sorry. If you're the NFL, you need to this week settle this once and for all. Either there are no exceptions, and guys, if you see a player without his helmet on, in which he took the helmet off, it wasn't ripped off, it didn't fall off, he takes it off. Either 100% of the time it's a penalty, or quite frankly, we need to get rid of it.
It's a terrible rule, but it is a rule, and Moore was clearly on the field of play when he did it. He had that helmet off. It's the first thing he did. I hate the penalty.
The clock was, my thing is, if the clock is stopped, come on. I mean, it was after a touchdown. I mean, who cares?
I'm with you on who cares. But as the rules are written today,
I know
it's a penalty. It's not about whether the rule's stupid or not. It's whether or not the player committed a stupid act.
Well, then it should have been a penalty then in the Washington-Indianapolis game too. That's all I'm saying. And the Washington player was much more on the field than DJ Moore was for Carolina, in my opinion.
But I am with you 100% that it's a terrible rule. I don't like the taunting rule. I don't like the fact that they gave Brown the penalty for, he beats two guys on unbelievable plays and does a little thing. He didn't stand over anybody. He just kind of pointed out the two of you again, and I beat both of you for the second time.
Called the Packers corner for taunting last night. Didn't say a word. He stood there, stared at the player. 15 yards for staring?
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You guys want to see my costume?
Mr. Chance. No, come on. No. Come on in, Felipe. Go ahead and get in front of the camera. I turned the camera off.
No, flip it open.
No.
Why?
I can't support that. You're a pickle.
I'm pickleball.
No, you're a pickle.
Man, this is ridiculous.
Can't support that. You're a pickle. That's funny. You're right. No one will remember unless Bell goes on to win a championship, because he only got into the championship race in Phoenix because he won that race. You only got Carolina at 3. I saw that at 3.5, 4 most of the week.
Adam, I'll wear this costume for Christmas too. I don't care. I'm planning on playing pickleball today in the pickleball costume. Maybe it'll give me stat boosts, +5 hands, +12 agility. More aerodynamic in the pickle costume.
So Tacto, I got to admit, we don't do much basketball before the first of the year.
And from what I saw in the highlights, it looked like it.
Yeah.
No, not just we're not an NBA. Our audience is not a big NBA audience.
Right.
We do a lot more football on this show than we ever will NBA.
Now, I know during commercial breaks in the chat room, sometimes we do address some basketball stuff.
You could talk to me, though, man. I love the NBA. You know what? He was chirping a lot. It was a heat of the moment thing. I get why they ejected him.
Actually, the big story in the NBA over the weekend is either A, Kanye with his tweet, or B, the Spurs cutting a lottery pick from a year ago because he apparently exposed himself to a couple of women.
Yeah, Josh Primo. 19 years old.
And they just said, yeah, we're done with you.
Yeah.
Hey, but there are a lot of organizations that wouldn't have cut him. They would have suspended him. He's young. He's a lottery pick. We'll work with him. He'll grow up.
It's the Spurs, though. Oh. You think Pop is going to tolerate that? Hell no. We're coming back.
A lot of organizations make tolerances for talent.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Poll question on Miller and Moulton today. We got Monday Night Football tonight, which is Cincinnati at Cleveland. We got Game 3 of the World Series tied at 1. Houston at Philadelphia. What are you more interested in? The one starts at 8. The other starts around 8:15 or so. One's on Fox. One's on the 4-letter network. What are you more interested in right now? 3 out of 4. Are you more interested in the baseball? I mean, I'm in Cleveland, so
You're more interested in the baseball. You just got to work the football game tonight.
Well, interested is the key word in this question. I mean, I better be interested tonight.
Well, you will be. It's your job. But if
Right.
you were at home on your couch, if this was last year and you just got done working the Rams 49ers.
Right. Yeah, I'd watch the World Series.
Absolutely. That's all.
And there's no doubt. What have we been saying for the last couple years? That by Monday night, many of us are footballed out. Now, what's interesting now is Thursday night's not getting the viewership that it was. I mean, Fox had built it up really effectively. Now they've handed it off to Amazon, and it's got, 60% of the audience, depending on the game, that it used to have. And meanwhile, because they changed the broadcasting crew, more of you seem willing to watch Monday Night Football than you have been recently, because ratings are up noticeably. And the only change, are the games better? I don't know. But I mean, the broadcast is better. And apparently you guys are interested.
And this isn't because you're there. Look, they had someone doing football that didn't do football. He wasn't good. I'm sorry. I know you work there, and I'll say it. He wasn't good at football. He isn't good at football. It was not a good broadcast.
So, but tonight will be interesting. A game in which, the Bengals, for as much as Joe Burrow, I mean, is Joe Burrow the third best quarterback in the league?
Yes.
I mean, if we're taking the two legends in the NFC and just saying, hey, love you guys. Okay. Love you, TB12. Love you, Aaron Rodgers. All right. But we're going Mahomes, Allen, Burrow.
At this moment in time, who are you going to put third?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Who are you going to put third? 21,000 is the text line.
So
I think Lamar is the only name, but even then, Burrow's been balling.
Well, and Joe got to the big game. And Lamar's yet to have the playoff success. And whether that's fair or not, we're going to hold it against quarterbacks. No doubt about it. By the way, there's a report from Peter King that both the Dolphins and the Jets are willing to trade a first-round pick to get Bradley Chubb away from the Broncos. Trade deadline's 4:00 tomorrow. Lots of reports the Broncos have taken their wide receivers off the market, but that doesn't mean others aren't available.
Well, and what they were wanting for Judy, what they weren't going to get by all accounts. So did they take him off the market, or did they just set the price too high?
I thought they showcased Melvin Gordon yesterday, though, for a trade, don't you?
Absolutely.
When everybody was watching that game yesterday and you're like, oh, wow, they're using Melvin Gordon this week. Do you think it's because they've changed their running back depth chart long term, or they're kind of like, well, listen, we got to build this guy back up. We'll take the best damn offer on Monday and trade him. Apparently, Cleveland is open to the idea of trading their backup running back after saying no for a year and a half. It's going to be interesting between now and 4:00 tomorrow, though.
Well, and I think the scenario that happened between you and Pat last week on the show, in which you wanted Gesicki for the Bucs.
Right.
And you're willing to give up a third. And Pat said, well, then give me a second. And you wouldn't do the deal.
Right.
That's And Pat was all over you. Go, wait a minute. You told me you needed him. If you needed him, what's the difference between a second and third here? If this is what you need to go to the Super Bowl, why wouldn't you give it up? And I think I thought it was a great exercise in the show because Pat's been on the phone. He's done that.
Right.
And will teams be willing to give up a little bit more? Because if you're going, obviously, a first for Chubb. Kamara is rumored being talked about. These are big names.
Well, the Bills apparently said to the Saints, what would it take to get him? I mean, they're all in. Good. If I'm a Bills fan, good. I'm sorry. How many final games have we won? Yeah. I'll trade a first-round pick to get me one. Damn right. And I don't care if it's only one. I mean, right now with that quarterback, I'm thinking, we may actually win 2 or 3 before he's done. But I got to have that first one.
Right. You got to get one before you can start getting into multiples, David.
Right. I mean, Chiefs fans, remember when Mahomes 3 years ago when they won it? And, we had Soren Petro on. And Soren's thinking, oh, we're going to win 3 to 6 of these suckers. Well, okay. Well, you got your one, And all
of a sudden you got your one, and the guy in Buffalo looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Looks like you're going to be battling these guys maybe quite a few times before it's all said and done.
Right. I mean, this could be Niners Cowboys of the 90s here.
And if the Bengals.
Right. Then they become the Packers from the mid-90s. Right. In which all of a sudden they rise up and the 3 great quarterbacks just all look at one another and go, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? But I mean, I would think with the league the way it is, and also there seems to be 3 clear lines. There's the haves, there's the jambalaya that's in the middle, and then there's, about 8 teams in which it's like, we suck. Yeah, we do. Just don't say that out loud. Close the door, will you?
It's a nice pot of sauce on the bottom. Don't kid yourself.
Right.
A pretty good-sized pot of sauce on the bottom with the bad teams.
So I'm curious what's going to happen. Like Gesicki caught another touchdown yesterday. And as he's doing his dance, I'm thinking to myself, so does this mean I got to give up a second-round pick, but he's still available? Or are the Dolphins going to look at one another and go, what the hell are we trading him for?
And I hope they don't. I hope they don't trade him. Because I think they need him. I think they need every weapon. They showed it yesterday and coming from behind.
If I'm the
Dolphins, nice red zone target.
He's a tremendous red zone target, which is why I want it for the Bucs. I'll tell you what, Mark, part of the reason why I'm only offering a third for Gesicki is I don't think anybody's offering a second. So I don't think I have to give you a second. That's number one. But here's the other thing. He's a free agent at the end of the year. I mean, he's playing, on the tag this year at 10.9. Well, I don't want to have to, tag him again. I mean, so to me, it's like, okay, here's the deal. Give me 4 to 6 hours with his agent. And if we can come to terms on a contract extension, I'll give you the second round pick. Will you give me the 4 to 6 hours with his agent? Because I want to sign him long term. I do not want to have to give up all of that for 8, 9, 10 games. Now, once again, though, if I'm Tampa Bay, this is my last year with Brady, you know what? I'm going to empty the tank. And if we suck for the next 3 years, well, I don't know what to tell you.
The other side of it, too, is maybe that second round pick gets the Dolphins to take a little bit more of the money, which would help, if Tampa's in that, to eat a little bit more of that salary. That's where the pick would be valuable to me. I'm giving you a second, but you've got to absorb that. At least some of it.
Gentlemen in our Twitch chat room brought up a player on a team in which, Zach Ertz in Arizona. You got to wonder if you're the Cardinals here. You put JJ out there. You put Ertz. I mean, you're 3-5 now. And let's be honest, if you're Steve Keim, you're thinking about firing your head coach. So you're already thinking about the future here. Do you get rid of 2 guys in their early 30s who are not going to be part of it? JJ had 2 sacks yesterday, by the way. I mean,
they weren't horrible. They just turned it over a bunch again.
Well, They did just release that new Call of Duty game. I mean, come on, dude. Were you really going to bet the Cardinals after they released the new video game? I mean, come on. Did you see Patrick Peterson? They picked him off, and the secondary all runs to the end zone to, fawn in front of the camera. And Peterson in front of the camera, they're all dancing behind him. He pretends as if he's playing a video game.
That's
wow.
Tremendous. That's tremendous.
By the way, I disagree with Adam in our Twitch chat room. You need Gesicki. It opens up the field for Hill and Waddle. No, it's the other way around.
No.
Gesicki was the fourth option on the touchdown he caught. Fourth. And that's coming from the head coach on that play. In fact, he said, we've never completed that pass to him in practice.
Oh, so what you're telling me then is Tua down in the red zone went to his fourth option to pass, but he doesn't know how to play quarterback, David. How could he possibly go through all of those reads and hit the fourth guy because he doesn't even know how to play the damn position?
Mark, he sucks. Okay?
Right.
Okay, he sucks.
You guys hear that? You guys hear that?
Told that for 2.5 years. He sucks. When are you going to admit it, Mark?
It's the sound of the Dolphins haters. They're really quiet.
Hey,
it's not the Dolphin haters. The Dolphin lovers are the ones that hate Tua. That's the part of this. It's their own fan base.
Never mind everybody else, although part of everybody else is coming around. In the last week, have you seen some of the national talking heads who have actually said, I think Tua is better than Justin Herbert? Whoa! Wait, how could that be?
And here's the thing. Guys are going to underthrow Tyreek Hill a few times because if you don't have a completely clean pocket, which he didn't on one of those plays and had to make a move, he couldn't even get the ball out because the offensive line's still not good. You're going to underthrow the fastest guy in the league on occasion. It's going to happen.
In the Bills-Chiefs AFC Championship game last year, or divisional game, he underthrew Tyreek Hill on one of the biggest plays in that fourth quarter game. Did we ever talk about that?
Mahomes actually tweeted something about that when Tua was getting a bunch of, grief a month or two ago. And quarterbacks have a tendency to stick up for quarterbacks the way coaches have a tendency to stick up for coaches. But Mahomes is like, he's a really easy guy to underthrow. Trust me. Hey, since they just honored the 72 Dolphins 2 Sundays ago.
Right.
How many wins do we think the Eagles are going to get until they get their first loss? Because a couple weeks ago, we were saying when they were like 4-0, 5-0, we're like, listen, if you go through the schedule, they're probably not going to be an underdog in a game until at the earliest Christmas Eve.
They got the Texans Thursday on the road.
Right. Well, it's Philly and Houston week. They're playing in the World Series, and they're playing Thursday Night Football.
Commanders at home.
Right.
At the Colts. Home for the Packers.
Now, it has to be noted the Colts did beat Kansas City in the Dome. We all know anybody can beat anybody. But, okay, Texans, Commanders, Colts.
Packers at home. Titans at home. That's their... Based on this year's schedule, based on this year's records, their first real test looks as if it's going to be the Titans. It doesn't mean, as David said, they don't lose between now and then.
Well, and you have to figure they're going to be playing a completely desperate Green Bay team. I mean, right, we think at some point they're going to turn this around. They're going to be playing their you-know-what off to sneak into the playoffs, right? Or by then, do we think that, hell, they'll be 3-8 and it's over?
Can I reserve an answer on that one right now? Because I have no idea.
I think they'll be fighting, you-know-what. I think they'll be like 5-6 coming into Philly when they play that game, and they'll be fighting their you-know-what off.
But then they play the Titans at home. They go to the Giants. They go to the Bears before Christmas Eve at Dallas. That's the first time they have a chance to not be the favorite in the game.
Now, it is worth noting, Mark just said, that's 3 road games, right? Giants, yes. Bears, Cowboys. And the Cowboys are the third of the 3 road games. But And, we got Giants fans saying, oh, they're going to lose to the Giants. But our point is they're favored in every game they play until Christmas Eve. I mean, Mark, how many games did you just rattle off? I mean, are they 13-0?
They very well could be playing the Cowboys with 2 remaining after that.
In fact, I think Christmas Eve is 14-0. I think you got Christmas Eve, and then you got the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then the last week. I think, in theory, by Christmas Eve, they got 14 games in the books. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening. Happy Halloween.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I was informed of something interesting yesterday about the Live Tour event in Miami. Did you know that apparently in the individual stroke play, the worst performing golfer in the event in Miami walked home with $1 million?
Okay. It was a team competition, and there were 16 golfers left on the 4 finalists. And then those 16 golfers went out and played. So they're the only 16 that you see on the individual competition. Those are just their scores yesterday. That's it. Okay, but it was a team competition. So if you look closely at the purses, like Cameron Smith won, what was it, $2 million, even though he finished first. But Dustin Johnson and Taylor Gooch and Pat Perez, they won $4 million because their team score was the best. So, yes, the 16th place guy yesterday won whatever he won, but he won it based on what the overall team score was.
Gotcha.
And the Cowboys that will be their 15th. Yeah, they'll have 2 left after the Cowboys.
So in theory, they could be 14-0.
It'd be 14-0 going to the Cowboys game. Yes.
Right.
They'll lose their first game in the playoffs against the 49ers.
No, they won't. They'll lose before that.
I don't know.
Name the bet.
I don't know.
They are not going 17-0.
Really
I don't put it this way. I don't even think they'll be undefeated when they play the Cowboys. It's the NFL. It's the NFL.
Sunday.
Crap happens.
Yeah. Any given Sunday. Yeah, okay, Adam. I will say, the guy that I was talking about who finished last in the individual play, imagine shooting an 80. And again, because of the team, obviously. Shooting an 80 and making $1 million.
Well, but I think that was the minimum. I think the last place team members got $4 million. And so each guy got $1 million.
Also, Adam, I'm terrible at golf. My slice on my drive is ridiculous. I'm a lefty. I also can't find good clubs. All of them are used, all different. I've inadvertently broken so many. I don't own a driver. My driver is my 3-wood.
Morning, Trenton. Advice for turning 40? I don't know. 40s was a pretty good decade.
NASCAR sarcasm. That
right.
Before Ross Chastain's move yesterday, I just assumed you couldn't do things on video games couldn't be done in real life. Today, after setting the high score on Sympathy for Destruction on Guitar Hero, I'm pleased to announce I'm joining.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour on a Monday, final one of October, because, heck, it's the final day of October. Happy Halloween, everybody. Have fun, be safe tonight, whether you're getting dressed up and taking part or whether you're just kind of chaperoning somebody who is. And also to everybody driving later this afternoon and early this evening. Take it a little more slowly. Be careful. There's going to be a few more pedestrians out there. That's all. Going to be maybe a little more difficult to see at a certain time of evening. That's all.
I was sold out by my family over the weekend, David. And they were right in doing so. I tried 3 different times to open the Halloween candy over the course of the weekend just to get myself a $100,000 bar, just a little mini candy bar to get through a Saturday or a Sunday.
Right.
And was literally told, you touch the candy bag, you better be prepared to go buy more candy because you know what's going to happen to you. They had no faith that I could have just one.
Were they right?
Probably. But I'm making up for it tonight. This is where it's a good, my daughter, and this is the one thing I will say that kids today don't like chocolate the way I think we did. They like the Sour Patch Kids and all. Like my daughter went to these 2 trunk or treats and she's picking out all the candy. I went to look through her basket. There was no chocolate for dad, no chocolate for mom. So the daughter's selling us down the river. And the wife won't let me have the chocolate in the house. So that's why I'm getting shipped out to do the trick-or-treating tonight with the daughter. I think they're all afraid I would just sit there and eat the candy instead of giving it to the kids.
Well, they're probably onto something. But, I mean, somebody has to stay back at the ranch, right? Handle the trick-or-treaters? I mean,
It's
that's
usually the wife's job.
I understand. And
She
now it
sends
will
me.
be.
She sends me out on the road.
And Mom's coming with you, right? It's going to be you and Mom in the golf cart, apparently?
Apparently.
Well, I think she wants to see the daughter. I mean, is this prime trick-or-treating age? I mean, your daughter's 8. I mean, this is young prime, isn't it?
I think so. I will say what I'm nervous about is that these trunk or treats, I think she went through the church line like 3 times. And I'm waiting for us to go through the neighborhood tonight and her to say, "Dad, can we go again?"
I don't give you candy if you knock a second time. I know that surprises the heck out of you. Now, I understand where the father is in a tough spot at church, okay, because there's a part of him that's kind of like, listen, you know, we've got to have enough to go around here, and rules are rules, and you go through once. And then when a kid comes through a second time, I mean, it's church. I mean, it's kind of a bad look if you say no.
I don't know. I don't think you can go to communion twice.
Well, but I don't think this is viewed in the same level. So I do think your daughter and her friends put the Padre in a bad spot. I do.
You could be right. You could be right. And why would you want to go twice? They're not even serving wine anymore. I mean,
exactly right. And even at 8, you're aware of that. But now you come around the neighborhood a second time. I look right at him and go, "You were here an hour ago. No, you don't get more. Sorry." And I don't care if they're accompanied by mom or dad. I look right at him and go, "Seriously? Double dipping? Come on." There's a Walgreens 2 blocks away.
You think you would actually remember the same kid coming in?
Total. Oh, me? Absolute. My wife? No. Me? Totally.
Because I can't imagine paying that much attention to every kid coming. I'm just handing them candy and getting them off the porch, if you know what I mean.
No, I talk to him. No. I'm interested. You know, I check everybody's costume out. Also, I give you your candy, now get out of the way. Okay, you got your 10 seconds of my attention, the whole deal. Hey, nice costume there.
Sounds like you're just a one candy person too, from what you said. They're only getting one. They're not getting like a handful if you're running the door.
Well, it's either 1 or 2. Okay, and so I come out and I go, your choice. Which do you want? You know, and it's kind of like on an airplane. I mean, their intention, by the way, is to not give you the full can. Their intention is to pour you 6 ounces in a cup with ice and give it to you. You ask them for a can, they have to give it to you. Okay, I mean, that's kind of, now not have to as in by law, but that's just kind of how the airlines work. It's like, listen, if the customer asks for a can, all right, give them the can.
Do you always ask for the can?
Always. Always. All right. But the other thing is that it's not an either or thing for the snack. You know, do you want cookies or sun chips or peanuts and I've seen people I'll take the cookies and the peanuts and the sun chips. Okay. And never have I seen a flight attendant go, well, no, you only get one. So, but I set the rule. I mean, I purchased the candy, so to speak. All right. So here's the deal. You're getting one. Do you want the candy bar, the Snickers, the Three Musketeer, the Milky Way, whatever it is, whatever we went with that year? Do you want the candy bar, or do you want the Reese's, the 2 cups in the thing? That's your choice. You can't lose here, by the way. It's free, and I bought 2 of the top 5, maybe even 2 of the top 3. I mean, we don't buy bad candy. I just limit how much of you can get. My wife then says, sit on the couch, don't answer the door anymore. I'm giving it all away.
Well, and here's where I could support your theory on this, is that there is an obligation on a part of the trick-or-treater to come to the door with some enthusiasm, to come with a good trick-or-treat, to come give it some vocal, as opposed to just walking up there, ringing the doorbell and holding your bag out, basically saying, gimme. Because I'm with you there. If I don't get a trick-or-treat, they're getting one. Beat it. If I get some good enthusiasm, I see some kids that want that candy and bellow out a trick-or-treat, they're probably going to get a couple more. It's all in the delivery, David.
Okay. Fair enough. But I mean, we're the jury, man. You got to make your case. Your costume helps, enthusiasm helps, saying something to us.
We're not even making you walk to the door half the time anymore. We got a table out in the driveway. You're not even to ring a damn bell.
Right. Or we see you coming down when we open the door and greet you before you greet us. That should have been the poll question, by the way. Something along those lines. You said it. You said, listen, if we really wanted a lot of people to vote, we should have done something Halloween-based.
And we've done it, though. Everybody knows the Reese's is your number one. It's probably the most attractive Halloween candy item, with Snickers and a few others probably falling right in line.
Do you give bonus candy for style points?
There is a chance, like Mark said, if someone is really, they put it this way, though, they probably have to be by themselves because I don't want others to see. But if one kid shows up with a good costume and or great enthusiasm, there's a chance that they get both. I mean, I'm not a Grinch. I am. No. I have Grinch-like qualities. All right. But I'm not a Grinch. You can sell me on, hey, you earned this. You know what? You get Reese's and a candy bar. Good for you. Keep it going. Have a good day. Happy Halloween.
The last time I gave candy to trick-or-treaters, there was this one kid that pulled up with a mohawk, a full beard, and a full James Harden uniform. And I gave him extra candy because it was amazing.
Surprised you didn't invite him in the house.
Really?
Hey, you wanna play some
Dude,
2K?
I got NBA Game Pass. You want to come in?
Hey, he's on right now.
We're just about ready to order pizza.
He almost has a triple-double.
I will say, I live in a neighborhood with one of Danielson's 75 grandkids. And a couple of years ago, when I saw the Lions jersey out there, I'm like, wait a minute, you're going as a Lion? Who would do that? Then I figured it all out. Gary got a little love during the Lions Dolphins broadcast.
So apparently he was
3,000 yard passer in Lions history.
Right. Listen, it's nice because usually the only time he gets mentioned is they show the LT highlight. Yeah, so that's good. Besides, you're 1-6. I mean, you start digging through the archives.
Oof. Regardless of their record, though, we're still impressed with Miami coming from behind on the road.
Yeah. Come on, the spread was only 3.5. It's the NFL, man. A win's a win's a win. Mark, this just in. I went 3-4, by the way, on the pick. So I followed up 5-1 with 3-4. And I don't want to say it's been a bad year or anything, but 3-4 was my third best week. The 8-year-old, who I hope crushes it in trick-or-treating tonight, because she went 4-1. Saved her job, apparently. It was on the line, whether she knew it or not.
It was.
Lee Sterling went 4-0-1, pushed on Miami, not the Dolphins, the Canes, and got his game of the week right and his NFL game of the year right. So he had
was the Patriots, for the record.
Right. But, Mark, I've decided, and this is really smart of me, that I'm going to stop betting on bad teams and stop betting against good teams. It sounds simple, but I've managed to, for 2 months, bet on a lot of bad teams and bet against a lot of good teams. So that's just a simple theory I'm going to have the rest of the year. I'm going to try to bet on the good teams and against the bad teams. We'll see if it works.
Things were so promising after that 5-1 week.
Here's when you know you should stop gambling for the year. When 2 of the top 15 defenses in the country get together and play a college game in which the over-under is 48, and they combine to score over 70 points in the game. 70 points.
Yeah, Notre Dame looked like the team that was ranked at the beginning of the season.
They nearly scored 50, for goodness sakes. They've gone a month without scoring 50.
Think of who they lost to, and then they blow out Syracuse on Saturday. Wild game from the Fighting Irish. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when What's on Tap, 25 minutes away on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So, David, did you see Corbin's latest project?
Is that the one in which you said I may need to reach out to him again?
Well, yeah, it's God forbid. It's all about Falwell and his wife and the pool boy.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Uh-huh. Called God Forbid.
Wow.
Uh-huh. I mean, it's anybody going to be left on the Rays coaching and front office staff?
Right. They hired the bench coach.
Right.
Be the Royals manager.
Director of scouting's with Detroit.
Right. Rays guys are GMs with the Dodgers, the Red Sox. They'll probably lose one of them to Houston because apparently the GM's getting fired, whether they win the World Series or not. Apparently he and the owner hate each other. Hey, everybody else who was involved in the cheating scandal has gotten a job although Beltran's just a broadcaster. He's not really in a front office, except the GM of the Astros, Lou Now. If you were an organization, would you hire him? I mean, he is the one that built this group. Good job, Yinzer. That's outstanding. Skittles is a very solid option, by the way, for today. I'm a
It
big
really
Skittles
is.
fan.
Most kids like Skittles.
I'm a big Skittles fan.
And they're much easier in the packs than the Starburst because there's no unwrapping involved.
Thank you.
A
Never
little
mind the
packs of-
fact.
I mean, I think the Starburst is better than the Skittles, but you can get a lot more damage done with a bag of Skittles.
But also the problem with the Starburst is they come in the packs of 2, and then you could get a bad batch. Like, how many times do you get yellow and pink? Who the hell
like
wants
pink.
yellow and pink?
Whoa. I like pink. Yellow, I'm with you, though.
Pink's the best one.
Oh, no.
Cherry's the best one.
Red's better. Orange is better. No.
Now that's
Orange and pink are close.
Now that's
Really?
a full question.
Yeah, because pink's
Okay.
like strawberry, right? Or
Or
raspberry.
pink lemonade. Isn't pink like pink lemonade?
Hold up. Orange, red, pink, yellow. Best Starburst.
Well, if nobody would vote for yellow.
Strawberry.
So I don't like strawberries.
Oh, pink is so they have a pack. You can buy a pack of just pink Starburst.
Good.
Well, you're getting all those crazy colors. That's not the originals. Yellow should be banned, Trenton.
It's just like a widely agreed thing. I love it.
Guys did a nice job on Vince at the start of that. I thought, David. I thought Nestler and Gary did a nice job with Dooley.
It was fascinating when we were walking in, Gary and I together, and he literally stopped and he said, Vince always sat right there. They pointed to the corner chair, and Gary always went over and talked to him. And we walk in that booth 3 hours before kickoff.
Right.
10 seconds.
And Vince would always be sitting in the box.
I thought they did a good job with that.
Yeah, I agree. Which I'm sure meant something to the Georgia people.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, the final hour of Miller and Moulton, the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this Monday, which happens to be Halloween. Happy Halloween. Have fun. Be safe. And, if you haven't bought any candy because not a lot of kids show up at your house or what have you, you know what? Just grab a bag of something today, lunch hour, on the way home, just in case. You can always give it away. I mean, you give it to Mark.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, he'll come by your house, and after the fact,
I'll bring Felipe. He can wear his costume and trick or treat.
Start challenging the whole neighborhood to pickleball.
We had quite a debate during that last commercial break, debating Starbursts and what colors are good colors and what colors are bad colors.
And you're an anti-pink Starburst. That's what we discovered during the break.
Yeah, there's only 2 good colors for me. It's red and orange. And how many times do you get a yellow and a pink little package of 2? It happens a lot. And to me, that's just like, give these back.
Does pink strawberry. That's good.
I don't like strawberry.
Well, I know, but it's fake strawberry. It's candy. That's why I figured you would still like it. I mean, I understand I could put a
Mark
in front of you.
I eat it. Don't get me wrong. All right. I mean, it's like the the fortune cookie at the end of the Chinese dinner. All right. And you're in it for the fortune. Some people, they have the strength to just crack open the cookie and leave it there. They're like, I don't like this. It doesn't taste good. And I look right at them and go, yeah, so what? Eat it. Okay. That's the same thing with the Starburst. I mean, I have no interest in the yellow and the pink. I eat them. Come on.
So you don't like strawberries, but
No.
I have to ask you, do you like chocolate covered strawberries?
No.
Oh,
I really don't like strawberries. No.
It's borderline good for you, Felipe. And
Right.
if it's borderline good for you, there's a really good chance that David doesn't like it.
True story, Felipe. I'm grumpy on the air. My wife concludes that it's because I need food. She sends the pizzas, which started a little multi-year thing where the wife started like sending food and stuff into the booth every like 3 months. So all of a sudden, was it anniversary, Mark?
Anniversary, your birthday, it was something.
Right. And is that like edible arrangements or
Yep,
what
that's
is it?
exactly who it was.
So and they've got the fruit, and then you got the big, chocolate covered strawberries, which to a lot of people is like the highlight of it. And so I turned to Mark and our producer at the time, John, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like these and what have you. And they were like both horrified. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I don't like them. And that was the conclusion Mark came to. And, Mark's like, well, it's because the strawberry is actually good for you. And I said, you're right. I don't even know why she would send this to me. And that's when Mark came to the conclusion, this is passive aggressive by your wife. She's trying to tell you you need to eat better. Okay. And I said, no, come on. My wife would never do that.
And he didn't say no like that.
No, I cursed.
Because John and I would attack David together. And John immediately took my side.
Right.
And we doubled down on the fact that it was passive aggressive by the wife. And David was getting
angry.
He was getting angry. Like
yeah,
it went from being a funny little bit to Moulton getting a little ticked off. Like, this is my wife, guys. Enough out of the two of you.
Yeah.
I think I know my wife and why she's buying me this.
Right.
It was that type of voice.
Right. Like, I mean, I occasionally sleep with her. You guys don't, at least not that I know of. So, I know her far better than the two of you. Stop it already. This was cute to a point. And then I went home and I said, those two yahoos that I work with, they said you sent me this and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden she gets really quiet. And then a sheepish look and she kind of leaves the room. And I'm like, are you serious? And so I did. I fessed up. I told them. I said, bring it on, boys. You were right. But yes, Felipe, if it's borderline healthy, there's a really good chance I don't like it.
You need to start drinking smoothies, man.
Do me a favor, Felipe. You worry about your pickle costume and your life, all right? And I'll worry about mine.
Okay.
Yeah, right? I got a good, bad diet thing going, okay? And that's the other thing. Nobody in the media basically eats well. And I'm around a bunch of people who are living forever. They're not selling the, hey, you really need to... No, I actually, I don't think I do.
I don't think you do. You do it. You do you.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
That's what I figured out because one, none of us are in a position to be talking about someone else's health habits.
Right.
Because you're already out of shape, Felipe, and you're the closest to the age where you should be in shape.
You said I'm out of shape.
Yeah.
Makes you say that.
I see you every morning.
I'm young.
You're Florida's.
Oh, that's funny. I agree with you though that Florida's defense is soft, but I can't relate that I'm soft as them because I run like 2 or 3 miles every day.
Whatever.
Fantastic.
Whatever.
All right, let me not toot my own horn here. Strawberry banana smoothies are delicious. Also, you just give it a chance.
Maybe. Not
You notice I don't do this to you. You notice I don't do this to you.
No, well, because you know better. Right. I mean, you do. And listen, it just goes back to, hey, it's Halloween. Just go grab a little something if you don't normally, just this year, just make an effort. Worst case scenario, you can give it away. And just for that, Felipe, by the way, you're not going with Mark. Just Mark's getting the candy, not you. You blew your opportunity. So there. Dolphins with a big win. Jags lost their 5th in a row. Tampa Bay sitting at 3-5. Now a game out of first. You know, I mean, right now, Mark, my $20 is a team below 500 going to get in the NFL playoffs this year. Yes or no?
I think so.
Because right now, you have to be at least 500 to get in. You know, the Falcons have the worst division record at 4-4. Right now, that's in first place. San Francisco's the last wild card in the NFC at 4-4. Even if Cincy loses tonight, the last wild card in the AFC would be the 4-3 Chargers. So, you know, but it does get back to, like, you know, the Giants lost yesterday. Okay, they're 6-2. I mean, how many more do they need? I mean, I think if they get 3 more, they're a lock.
And I guess the question is will Tampa win 9 games? That's really the question. Is somebody in that division, more than likely the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going to get to 9?
Well, like, let me ask you this. If you're Fox, you've got what? Rams at Bucks this Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you know, rematch of their divisional playoff game. Rams defending Super Bowl champions. Bucks won it the year before that. I mean, we all know on paper it looks sexy. Do you send your A team to Rams at Bucks? It's 3-4 at 3-5. I mean, but it on paper, it Rams at Bucks. Yeah, they're both not in the playoffs today.
And neither look good.
No.
I mean, the Rams just got whooped.
Well, it's the Niners. They can't beat the Niners.
I understand that. They didn't have 2 early leads in that game and managed to still get whacked.
Well, you know, one team went out and got Christian McCaffrey.
Looks like that's paying off already.
Yeah. Yeah. They've spent a lot of draft capital on running backs, a lot of whom are hurt, and a quarterback who's hurt. And what are they doing? Spending more draft capital, trying to win a Super Bowl.
And who's going to join them in the next 9 hours roughly?
I think there will be a decent amount of trades. I really do. In fact, between now and 4:00 tomorrow, if I give the over-under at 5.5 for trades, that's a lot. It's a big over-under for trades in the NFL.
I'd lean under. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, Adam, they need to develop Lawrence. That's what they need to do. Well, logic, man, after Geno Smith's revival, I think for a few years we're all going to hesitate before we say no.
I didn't even see that Louisville got beat by a D2 school that was 10-18 without its two leading scorers.
Was it Lenore Ryan?
Yeah.
Who beat them? Yeah, 57-47. Yeah.
Without their two leading scorers, they were 10-18 a year ago.
Uh-huh.
And didn't have their two leading scorers for the game.
Right. Season starts in a week. I think it was Jeff Goodman or it was somebody else who covers college hoops who sent out a tweet that said, the quote I hear more from coaches these days than anything else is, we suck right now.
Is it too crazy to say that the Niners could be the second best team in the NFC?
No.
Because they looked really good yesterday. Also, I could be wrong, but kind of getting the vibe that the Rams whole thing is going to blow up very soon.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. They had 5 years. They had 5 winning records.
Who's that?
The Rams. 5 winning records, went to the playoffs 4 times, went to 2 Super Bowls, won 1.
Success.
You think?
Yeah. And they paid for all of it.
So, you know.
Yeah.
And now if you go through a period of time where it takes a while to build it back, okay.
But I'm saying I think that day is coming soon.
Okay. If you're a Dolphin fan, would you take that?
Yeah.
Okay.
100,000 million %.
So
Super Bowl?
Yeah.
By the way, the crowd was more like 80-20 at that Rams game.
Oh my gosh. It was like a Clippers home game against the Lakers. It's exactly what it was. Oh, we're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 17 minutes until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Poll question. We got 2 significant sporting events tonight, right? Game 3 of the World Series. Series tied at 1, by the way. McCullers against Syndergaard. Interesting they go Syndergaard game 3 because then in theory, that's who also is your game 7 starter. And he was their game 4 pitcher in the LCS, but they move him up to game 3 against the Astros. That's 8 o'clock tonight on Fox. And then Monday Night Football. That's why I'm in Cleveland. Bengals and Browns. So which one you more interested in? Basically, which one you going to watch? And right now, baseball winning.
About 2/3 of you going with the baseball over the Monday Night Football game. I voted baseball for the record.
Good for you.
Not really consequence, but a lot more consequence than Monday Night Football to me.
Yeah, for sure. So, and we'll see. Remember, baseball moved their schedule around. We were bothered by it, but they're like, listen, we're not competing with the NFL, and if we are, we're going to compete with Monday Night Football. Because they went Friday, Saturday, games 1 and 2, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, so they don't even compete with Amazon and Thursday Night Football, and then Friday, Saturday.
You know, they could have game 7 going up against Alabama and LSU.
Mm-hmm. And Notre Dame Clemson. Because both those games are at night. CBS gets the afternoon to, if it's a game, to get a number.
If it's in a game, will it do better than Alabama and Tennessee?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
No. Ohio State's the number 1 draw in the sport, and Alabama's number 2.
And I'd be curious to see that number from Saturday because they were in a game with Penn State when the 4th quarter started. So I would think that game did a hell of a number.
They were in a game with Penn State midway through the 4th quarter. I mean, Ohio State scored 2 touchdowns in the final 3 minutes there to make it a 20-point win. So, yeah, Mark, I'm with you. As that game was going on, I literally said to Brad and Gary, I go, oh, Fox is going to get a number today. Ohio State in a close game? Damn.
So we'll see, but I would imagine that'll do a pretty big number, and it sets up Michigan and Ohio State now to remain undefeated when they play one another Thanksgiving weekend.
And the Georgia Tech, like somebody already nationally wrote a story saying that basically the meaning of this week in college football will have virtually no meaning 2 years from now when we have a 12-team playoff. Clemson, Notre Dame, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Tennessee. And he goes, well, enjoy it while it lasts, because in 2 years, a weekend like this is going to be really diminished. Well, I think a little diminished. A little. But the whole playoff positioning, you know, who gets a bye, who's in the 5 through 8 category, you know, is the loser of LSU Alabama out of a 12-team playoff? You know, does LSU move themselves into 5 through 8 territory with a win, and Alabama falls to 9 through 12 territory where they got to go on the road? I mean, I still think it's going to have more meaning than certain people think.
I'm with you. It will lose a little bit, but it's not like the Buffalo-Kansas City regular season game wasn't highly anticipated. I don't know why we don't think these games will be of the equal when we're talking about what's going on in the regular season with college football. Time now for?
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
I'm not joking when I say this. This is the smallest one of these I've ever done. Maybe I missed stuff. It's possible. It was last night at halftime of the Sunday Night Football game, but I still didn't see a whole lot. 1868. I did this one specifically for David Moulton. The standard uniform was approved for U.S. postal carriers. David loves the mail.
I do. You asked me, by the way, with my new home of Jacksonville, have I gone out discovering and what have you? Mark, one of the first things I discovered where the post office was.
1913, the Lincoln Highway is dedicated as the first U.S. paved coast-to-coast highway. 1918, the Spanish flu was at its height. 21,000 people died in a single week in the United States. 1941, the Mount Rushmore Monument is completed in South Dakota.
Have you ever been?
I never have.
It's amazing. The problem is, after about 2 hours, you kind of go, okay, so where are we going? And the problem is there's nothing in 300 miles in any direction. But listen, you get there, you see it, lunch, the whole day. You could have a good 5 hours.
All right.
And then you can't do anything for 2 days.
My mom is planning on going this summer. She's going to do the Dakotas and Montana and somewhere else with a group of ladies, and she's all fired up. 1950, the big cat, Earl Lloyd, becomes the first African-American to play a game in the NBA, scoring 6 points in his debut for the Washington Capitals. 1994, Venus Williams makes her professional debut as a 14-year-old with a straight set win. And surfer Bethany Hamilton today in 2003 lost her arm in a shark attack while surfing in Hawaii. Those no longer with us that are celebrating birthdays, Barbara Belgettis, Brian Piccolo, and John Candy. Those that are celebrating birthdays, David Rather, Brian Doyle Murray, John Lucas, Larry Mullen Jr., the crime dog Fred McGriff, Smith's guitarist Johnny Marr, and Vanilla Ice is 55 years old today.
Wow.
Ice baby, David.
Got a few things going on today that I'm just going to nominate that you may have missed. That's all. 1864, on this day, Nevada becomes our 36th state. Houdini died on this day in 1926, 12 days after the guy sucker punched him. Those that don't know the story, Houdini was given a speech and he's bragging about, he's got great stomach muscles. And that's why he can do some of the things that he does. And while he was standing there not paying attention, a guy came up to him and sucker punched him twice in the stomach. He actually burst his appendix. He died 12 days later from the poison that was in his body when the appendix burst. River Phoenix died on this day in 1993. And the Prime Minister of India was assassinated on this day, Indira Gandhi, no relation, in 84, by her bodyguards. Man.
Always somebody on the inside, David.
I know that.
Someone on the inside.
Mark, that split second when the bodyguards turn around and they're putting the gun at you and you realize but that split second, you got to be, I'll be damned.
I got nothing. All right, stop, collaborate, and listen.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Paul Corby at Boca Bargoons in Fort Myers is donating 160 suites worth of hotel furniture to people in Southwest Florida who've lost everything. That's absolutely fantastic. Helped facilitate all the hotel furniture after another hurricane and was able to get his hands on it and is now donating all that furniture to Southwest Florida residents. That's very, very cool.
Remarkable.
For the bad, we go to Centerville, Virginia, where a bus driver for an elementary school in the nation's capital was charged while driving while intoxicated while his bus went into a ditch returning from a field trip from a farm in Northern Virginia. 9 children treated for minor injuries, no one hurt badly. The driver was under the influence.
No.
He didn't lose his driver's license because he had already lost his driver's license from a prior drunk driving conviction. Not sure how they were able to allow him to drive a school bus. Finally, the ugly. We go to California, where Dominic Salazar was booked for disorderly conduct and drunken disorderly conduct at a Halloween party where he was dressed as a bottle of Fireball cinnamon whiskey. That's what happens when you drink bad booze and dress as it as well. The $45 for the costume will be slightly less than his fines because he's being held in $55,000 bond.
Ooh.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Halloween, October the 31st, 2022.
That's a lot of fireball shooters right there.
Couple of notes. One thing we both missed, Nick Saban's 71 today. Also, since we're in the bonus hour, did you see it was SRO for the Blades in their home opener Saturday? Well, and the reason why that surprised me is, normally you win a championship, but with everything that's gone on in the 239, it was, I thought it might affect them at the gate, but maybe just enough period of time had gone by, a month, that, some people were really jonesing. So anyway, SRO for the Blades, raise the banner, that whole deal, Saturday night. Got 7 NBA games tonight. None of them involve the Heat or the Magic, however. In fact, I'm trying to find a good game. I mean, Mark, the Grizzlies Jazz, because the Jazz are 5-2, but Hawks Raptors, because they both have winning records. I mean, it's not no. And only 3 games in the NHL, and none of them involving the Lightning or the Panthers. Washington, Carolina, though, always entertaining. They don't like each other. They've met in the playoffs a few times. They genuinely don't like each other. So there you go. Who do you like tonight, baseball? Can the Phillies keep it going at home? I mean, they've yet to lose. They're 5-0.
Right. I think Houston wins tonight. I said before, I picked 6. It wouldn't surprise me if it was in 5, but I think Houston gets tonight to gain back the advantage in the series.
I find it interesting tonight, McCullers. He's not a power pitcher. And they just faced a lefty who wasn't necessarily a power pitcher, and he ate him up. McCullers has had 2 starts in the playoffs. One of them, he got hit pretty good. And the other one, his stuff worked. So I've been curious. The Phillies have been seeing a lot of power pitching in this playoffs. And now they're getting a little bit of 2022 slop, if you will. So I'll be curious to see how they handle it at home. I actually like the Phillies tonight.
Would make for a better series if the Phillies could get game 3. That's for certain.
Yeah.
Cincinnati win and cover?
Burrow's never beaten the Browns.
Right.
And he doesn't have his favorite target. Listen, ultimately it's Burrow against Brissett. And, I mean, would you rather have Nick Chubb or Joe Burrow? I mean, that's what this comes down to. And I would rather have Joe Burrow. I also think, as a guy who grew up as a Browns fan, grew up in Ohio, and has heard all week that he hasn't beaten the Browns, that I'm guessing it's bothering him a little bit.
Just want to see what outfit he wears to the game tonight.
I want to see what outfit the fans wear to the game tonight. How many of them get dressed up in a football mode? How many Ozzie Newsomes and Bernie Kosars do we see? How far back they going to go? How many helmets are we going to see tonight?
How many anti-Deshaun Watson costumes are there going to be?
Ooh.
That's kind of some of the things I'm curious about.
So how do you dress if you're a massage therapist? Because that would be the costume to wear. You want to make a statement tonight, Bengals, Browns, go as a massage therapist.
Oh, boy. That's, I don't know if they'll get a lot of TV time for that, but you'll certainly notice them coming into the facility.
I'm just wondering if security taps you on the shoulder and then you go, oh, no, because if you're kicking me out, you got to kick out about 4,000 others who are wearing costumes.
So I'm with you there, but Philly's going to be jumping tonight.
Oh, it'll be great. You'll see so many old Phillies uniforms too, going back to the 70s. Lazinski, Boa, Schmidt, Carlton. Yeah, it'll be great. How many people put on the beard? They want to go as like Bryce Harper or some of the current Phillies. Oh, yeah, it'll be, man, that place will be rocking.
Just an absolute zoo tonight for Game 3 of the World Series, Monday Night Football and Game 3. So a pretty nice little sports night tonight as we close out the month of October. And as David said before, everybody, drive a little slower, take a little more time if you're venturing out this evening. Lots of kids on the streets, lots of people out and about. So be cautious tonight. And give out more than one piece of candy per kid. That's all I ask.
No. Hold the line, folks. Hold the line.
Unbelievable. The tough facade of one David Moulton.
The snark.
Who we may see on camera tonight dressed as Sully. If there's a reason to watch Monday Night Football, it's not just for the two in the booth. It's for what accompanies the booth and whether or not they're going to get a little love to Sully and that costume that if you didn't see on Twitter, well, it's one of the reasons you should be following the David Moulton on Twitter, just for that.
If they let me wear it, then I'll probably make the survey. It's up to Joe and Troy, ultimately.
Well, that's good.
I sent him a copy yesterday. Said, this is what it looks like. Joe said, you're unreal. So this could be my last game, Mark. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa